What's the name again? SM Athletics. Trust me, if you want to look like a real company, not a flea market stand, this is the move. If you're serious about your brand, work with people who are serious about getting it right. SM Athletics.
Are you looking for a treat that will knock it out of the park at the next watch party? Just like your favorite baseball team, Crumble brings the best lineup week to week with an expanded roster that includes key lime pie, strawberry cake, or my personal favorite, Monster featuring M&M candies. Let Crumble treat you to the best cookies in the game. Download the Crumble app and start earning rewards. You can even vote monthly on what flavors you would like to see at any store of your choice. Warmer weather is here, so get to the ballpark, but don't miss the cookies.
Are you ready to show off that confident, radiant smile you've always dreamed of? Well, here at Knoxville Smiles, we're ready to turn your dream into a reality. At Knoxville Smiles, we're more than just a dental practice. We're your partners in achieving optimum oral health. From routine cleanings and checkups to advanced cosmetics and restorative procedures, we offer a wide range of services in an environment that makes every visit a positive and comfortable experience. At Knoxville Smiles, it's about more than just treatments. We're focused on creating a welcoming environment where you feel like family. Our state-of-the-art facilities are designed with your comfort in mind, and our friendly staff is always ready to address your questions and concerns. Don't wait any longer to achieve a beautiful smile you deserve. Schedule your appointment at Knoxville Smiles today and take that first step towards a healthier, happier you. Call us at 865-539-1776 to book your appointment today, or just visit our website at knoxvillesmiles.com.
Good morning, Fan Run Nation. Closing in on another weekend, folks. Let's make it a great day. College football takes the wheel yet again on today's program. We'll start with some more comments from a Big Ten coach about the SEC at Big Ten Media Days. I'm serious. It happened again. But then we also heard some high praise for Josh Heupel from an ACC coach at their media days. Mostly, though, we'll talk about the stupid perspective from Big Ten commish Tony Petitti on college football playoff expansion. He just can't let this go. Feels like he's on an island all by himself on his status over achievement rationale. It's become a stalemate, and we'll discuss it in hour one. We'll also talk about Vols football. Any movement on the Boo Carter situation? Well, some of the rumors have been somewhat substantiated, it seems, and now we wait until camp opens next week to see what's next in this saga. We'll talk about it, and then we'll also talk about some Vol recruiting when Ryan Callahan from GoVols 247 joins the program in hour two. Also, where does Knoxville stack up in the rankings of best SEC towns? We'll break it down right here. All of that and so much more on a Thursday edition of Under Review, and it's coming your way right now.
From the studios of Fox Sports Knoxville, it's time for Under Review with Bob Baskerville on Fan Run Radio.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Thursday. The week is almost over. And we are also 37 days till football time in Tennessee and only 30 days until week 0. There's a good game or two that weekend. It just means football is that much closer. We're coming to you live from the White Claw Hard Seltzer studios of Fan Run Radio. This is Under Review. I'm your host, Bob Baskerville, joined as always by Sam Beard. Got Brett Hollander here as well across the way in the production booth, along with Garrett Armbrust, who's in with us today, and we appreciate him hanging with us. And you, the listener, we appreciate you hanging with us too, however you choose to do it, whether it's live on the radio, AM 1340, or over on the FM side, 105.7. Maybe a live stream on fanrunradio.com. Maybe you're streaming us live on the free Fan Run Radio app. Maybe you check us out as a podcast. We're available wherever you catch your podcasts. Back on video, too. We are on YouTube, Fan Run TV. Hi, if you're watching. We're right here. Also on Facebook, also on X. We're everywhere you want to be, wherever you're consuming your content. We certainly appreciate you supporting the Fan Run brand. Supporting our show, Under Review, means a lot. You can also be a part of the program on a live basis. Phone lines are open. Text box is open. Same number works however you choose to get in touch with us. Area code 865-966-3435. That's 966-3435. And as always, you can communicate with us on X as well, at Fox Sports Knox. Well, boys, another day passes by, getting closer and closer to football. Got to keep the fire lit, because there's going to be some days when I was prepping this show, I was like, what are we going to talk about today? Got Ryan Callahan joining us for the first time. That's a big deal. We're excited about that. Talk a little Vols with him. The Boo Carter situation is kind of the gift that keeps on giving. We'll spend a little time talking about that. And again, another gift has been unexpectedly the SEC, not the SEC, the ACC and Big Ten media days, where we started the week not thinking we were going to be very interested. They've dropped some gems that have been throwing shade at our conference. We take it personally. We'll talk about all that. Got a lot to cover, as it turns out, and we're excited to do it. But first, let's say hello to the gang. Sam, how are things going? What's the status of the air conditioning at this point?
Bad news on the AC front yesterday, Bob. We got a guy out there yesterday. Shout out Earl. Fantastic fella helping me out. Was explaining like HVAC units to me like I knew what I was doing with AC stuff, and I was just like, yes, sir. Okay. Yep. Okay. Got you there. Yes, sir. Okay. That sounds good to me. And, he's getting up in like our attic and stuff like that and checking things out. And he goes, yeah, I got bad news for you, brother. He's like, this thing, so-and-so is leaking right here. And that's causing the issue here. And we're going to have to order some new coil. And that's a pretty expensive part. And, he like shows me the balance, and he's like, this is even before the coil, and that's a pretty expensive part right there, man. And I was like, yeah. I was like, let me talk to my buddy. And he's like, honestly, if it were up to me, he's like, with the kind of the cost of this whole thing, he's like, I'd probably go ahead and look into just replacing the unit. And I was like, all right. I was like, that's not the news that I was hoping for. So another night of like, he was basically saying, he kind of confirmed what had been happening. He was something with this leak. I don't know anything regarding HVAC stuff, but he was just like, yeah, there's a reason why, it's getting here to like 84, 85 upstairs at times in the day. And then, you get to nighttime and it's not too bad. It's back to like 68, 69. It's not having to work as much. And I was like, yeah, well, we'll just bear through it for a couple of days, and then we'll kind of see where we go from there. But yeah, it kind of seems like, total replacement is the option on the board right now. So we didn't get great news on the AC front yesterday, but I still survived another night, still feeling good. But yeah, it is a little frustrating not having some little things going at the house right now, but that's part of the pains of going into a new place. So I'm just taking the punches and rolling with them.
I'm sorry to hear that. And it feels like a little bit of Groundhog's Day. We just had this happen on one of our air conditioning units at our other place, and it was the coil. Mm-hmm. And there was, created refrigerant leak, and they went through yada, 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 all this stuff. The only saving grace for us was that apparently the unit was still under warranty. And so they were able to save us a little money, but it was still a lot of money because the coil's expensive, the labor's expensive, yeah. The replacement of the refrigerant or the Freon is expensive. It's a lot, man. And I'd be a little ticked, not telling you guys your own business, but when they did the inspection on this,
I know
that should have been something that was figured out.
100%. Yeah. I mean, he did kind of give me like some hope about the warranty type of stuff. And he was like, this unit is like past the 5-year warranty or whatever it is. But he said something about like, how long ago did you move into this place? I was like, literally last Friday. And he was like, oh, you might still have some time then to be able to like get that kind of switched, or that warranty still being able to get used or something like that. So I'm holding out hope for that one. But
that's true. There could be there is the whole notion that supposedly some of this stuff could be covered as long as a year.
Yeah.
So you guys,
correct.
You got a shot.
So yeah, he was basically saying like try and just get it fixed as soon as possible, since you're so new into the house. Like, you might be able to kind of have that covered under warranty. So I think that's what we're hoping for at this point.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Don't they do walkthrough at places and before you move in and like make sure stuff's good? Like, I know an air conditioning unit can go out at any time, any day, but I just didn't know if that was an issue before y'all moved in, that hey, let's get this fixed before we move in. Cause now it seems like it's thrown on your plate I mean, it's out of your control, obviously, but I just didn't know if that's a thing at this certain place you're at, or how long it's been
not sure
unoccupied.
To be honest with you, Brett. I would imagine. I mean, like, and he had to go up into like the attic and the ceiling to go and figure it out. So like, I don't know if the home inspector was like, oh, let's go check out the AC unit up there and take it apart and make sure that it's working fine.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Oh, at the time of the inspection, it was probably a decent like 72 degrees up there or something like that. And he's like, oh, this thing's working fine.
I was just curious.
Yeah.
That's a tough one, man. And
we'll get there.
Yeah. Yeah, you will. You'll get there. But like you said, at least it's just one unit.
The downstairs is working fine. That's what I was like, do you mind checking just the downstairs unit to make sure that it's doing well? And he's like, it's not doing great, but it's absolutely working. Like it'll get the job done. And I was like, all right, if I can get half the house cooled down, I don't have to be upstairs for all that long.
That was the challenge we were up against at our other place. Was we have one unit, period.
Yeah, so it's just all out.
It's like it's like we gotta bite the bullet, man. It sucks, but oh well, life will go on. Brett, how are things with you?
Good. Played some golf yesterday.
Nice.
Got schedule opened up a little bit. Got out with my brother at Holston Hills yesterday. So it was hot. It was like 3:30 in the afternoon. I don't advise playing at that time, but it was good. I hadn't played out there in a long time, and it was a good time with him, and did that. Then soccer practice, and it was a busy night. So, it was like straight to bed when I got home. It was like 10 o'clock. So, but doing good otherwise. I wanted to shout out Jaden Harmon and Travis Smith. There's been so much negativity we've talked about on this show, and I don't know if it's a headline, maybe it was, but those guys donated some money yesterday to the Wesley House. And, we talk so much about culture and how it's been negatively, in a negative light with Nico and Boo, and just shout out to those guys that there is some good over there on campus, and shout out to those two guys, because to give $5,000 a piece to the Wesley House is something I couldn't not speak on this first thing this morning. So, but shout out to those two guys. So it's a good thing. And there are some good dudes over there on campus that Hypo and company have got, and I'm looking forward to them hopefully maybe making a small impact on the season this year. So we'll see.
I had not seen that. That's awesome. That is that's very cool. Yeah, that's the whole thing. It's like, regardless of what's going on with some of this other stuff, by and large, got a lot of good kids over there, man.
Absolutely.
So that's just further proof of that. You talked about the hot weather.
Yeah.
So I went and I was invited to sit in for a little bit of the drive on yesterday, and just walking from, and I was parked pretty close, walking from my car to the stadium, man. Boys, and I was looking at my watch to see what my watch was saying the temperature was. It said it was 95. I mean, it was hot, man. It was hot. You could just feel it.
That was the one thing with the the AC guy. I was like, I know it's 80 upstairs or whatever. He's like, oh brother, he's like, I just came from a call at this old lady's house, and it was like 102 in her place.
Jesus.
And I was like, God, I can't. He's like, him working, I just felt so bad. He was just dripping sweat. I can't imagine doing that. But I mean, it is the type of weather you just walk out of your car. If you're outside for like 2 minutes, you're already getting sticky.
Yeah.
Did you smooze at the free food?
Yeah. So we went in, did the show. We were lucky because thankfully when I wasn't walking in, I don't know what happened in West Knoxville, but it poured for about 5 minutes at the stadium. Kind of came out of nowhere. We were inside already, so we were just watching all the crew, and it looked like they were getting crew from the concessions. I think they weren't ready for it to get the tarp down and everything else. But so we did the show, and then we went behind the curtain into the whatever that club is. I've got a little video of it. It is nice, man. It is enormous. We had seen it when we had toured it in the past before the completion of the construction, I guess. And always thought, God, what a big space. It's amazing. And it looks out to the field and everything too. And you can go in there and then get some food or whatever, and you can go right out. It's for the people who have the box seats up in that kind of upper tier right there. There's not an enormous amount of those seats. So I'm sure it's pricey, but yeah, the food was good. There's just it was kind of an Asian theme. They had some serious egg rolls.
Oh.
Yeah, I know, man. It's tough to pass those up, you know.
So do you think they go like different themes, different nights up there in that kind of fancier food section?
I guess so. Yeah, like I said, so that, you know, they had these kind of chopped salads, you know, with spring mix and mandarin oranges, and then the egg rolls, and those were delicious. And then they had some sort of pineapple chicken with fried rice that you could mix, and there's some grilled broccoli that you could throw in. And then they had hot dogs, and they were elite. They were all, you know, blistered and kind of charred, you know, and I mean that in a good way, not burnt, but, you know.
I like a good charred dog.
Yeah. Well, station management slapped some.
I had one yesterday. It was a good dog.
Very strong.
Good dog.
So I had a couple hot dogs yesterday. I had one here, and then I had one at the ballpark.
There we go.
Put a little chili on the one at the ballpark, just a little. Didn't want to make a mess. But Russell Smith was like on a mission. You know, he's done this multiple times. He's just like, I'm just looking over the food, and by the time I start putting stuff on my plate, I look down the way, and he's already sitting at the table eating.
He's got one plate down. He's already jumped back in line.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know, I'm just taking it all in. And then you know, Bear had some stuff, and Bear seemed to have a lot of snacky stuff, a lot of like little pretzel buds and beer cheese and queso, whatever you want to call it, you know. So Walker was there too. Walker got some grub. It was very good. It's as good as advertised. I have to say, we really appreciate the folks with the Smokies, A, letting us come do the show there, and then B, letting us just go and grub out.
Did you stick for any of the game or no?
Yeah, for me, I stayed for almost 2 innings, and I had to get going.
Yeah.
But it was nice. We just went and sat right outside that area, and the seats in that upper tier, because they're covered, and they also have like a padded seat as well.
Oh, so you get the seats in like the club level type of thing.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. I
nice.
mean, I'm sure they belong to somebody.
Yeah.
And we could have gotten booted, but it wasn't a sellout or anything. And then they also have some kind of bar stool high tables right in the back. There's, you know, we could have sat there, but the problem was there were people inside on the other side of the glass, and they were sitting at a tabletop, I think, trying to watch the game while they were eating. So we didn't want to sit there. So, saw some people I knew, which is always nice. You know, it was nice. They got it going on there, man. You got to go check it out, Sam. I know. I guess you'll see it at a minimum when we do Smokies.
Yeah, exactly.
Fan run night.
I think I'll probably just wait, let it excite me from the first time I go to the park for fan run night.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let it all hit me at once.
That's right. That's right. But yeah, it was good. It was good. We, you know, their show had a little bit of a technical snafu at the beginning yesterday, just kind of getting it hauled back here to the station. So they really didn't get on the air until about 15 minutes past the hour, but then they got it worked out. Everything was groovy by the time I got there and hung out. Can't beat it, man. I mean, it's, you know, I get it. It's AA baseball, minor leagues. A lot of these guys you've never heard of, but you'll ultimately hear of some of them when they get it. You know, Russ is bringing them on and interviewing them, and it's just, it's nice to get out and just kind of hang. And it's kind of calm before the storm, before the game even starts. You kind of get to see all the activity that's happening beforehand. I would highly recommend it.
Nothing better than a day at the ballpark, man.
Yeah.
Saw a great video of like Joey Votto. It was some interview of his, and he was just talking about how much he loves baseball and what the game is. He's like, everything's unique. You know, you've got different parks that have different conditions. You've got wind in Chicago, and you've got, you know, gets cold out in San Francisco type of thing. You can be a guy that sits in the stands and scores the entire game, pitch by pitch, out by out, or you can just sit around with friends and talk shop and catch up type of thing. He's like, there's nothing better than a day at the ballpark. And I was just like, damn right, Joey Votto.
Yeah, and last thing on this, the segue to all this was because where these seats were situated is along the third base side. So when the game started, the sun is at your back, you're covered. So even as hot as it was yesterday, by then the temperature dropped down to like 85, 84, and it felt fine. Wasn't too much humidity. Maybe the rain blew some of that out. So it was nice. It was nice. It's one of those deals though, where it's like, okay, you can't really emulate this unless you're going to, on the regular, unless you're going to go spend a bunch of money.
Yeah.
And, that part's tough. So get a little spoiled that way, but it was certainly a nice evening. Garrett, we appreciate you hanging in with us today. We're making this transition to video. Jake's usually off on Thursdays, and so we were just kind of like, I don't know, this might not be the day to try to multitask and go one guy short. So appreciate you hopping on. How you doing?
No, I'm doing good. No problem doing it. Yeah, I know when I produce, it would be nearly impossible to produce and do this at the same time, especially doing the podcast and everything. So completely understand. Not a big deal at all. But yeah, excited to just sit in and got to be a listener today.
Yeah, well, you're always welcome to pipe in if you'd like. Garrett's also going to be filling in for Sam tomorrow. Sam is skipping out on us again.
Another wedding?
I don't know.
So like you guys are tying the ties.
Just going on a bender or something. Who knows? But no, we appreciate Garrett helping us out today and tomorrow for sure. Okay, the last thing here before we hit our first break is I haven't talked to Cody. I left him one of those Pop-Tart ice cream sandwiches. He was very laser focused on them. And I was like, there's one left that wasn't in the box. I'll, because it's you, I'm going to leave it for you.
The cinnamon one, or was it a fudge one?
It was cinnamon.
Did you have a fudge one last night?
I didn't. I didn't have it in me. I ate enough at the park. I was like, true. I can't really go and get after something like that. But kudos to Sue, who brought home. She did bring home one box of the Rice Krispie.
Ah, nice.
Nice.
And she had one already. I have not.
What were her thoughts on it?
She said it was unbelievable. She was like, God, those are so good. She goes, you can taste like the butter in the Rice Krispie treat.
Yeah.
I mean, they nailed it, man. We have to say.
It's a good thing they only put like 4 in a box.
Not even. There was only 3.
Oh, really?
That was the reason you guys had to cut yours in half. And it's crazy because I'm not sure. I think they could fit 4 in a box, but this is the world we're living in right now with inflation and everything else. You don't really recognize it until the time comes to open the box.
It just looked like it would have like 10 in there.
Yeah, they marked 3 on there, so they're not misleading you, but you don't think to look at that.
I mean, a 3-pack is insane of anything.
Exactly.
What are we making of a 3-pack that is useful?
That's right. I'm 100% with you. I was like, I just don't get it, man. It's weird. And again, they could have done it. They could have fit 4 in there. So this is a way for them. It's like, make a little more. There's a little more margin doing it this way. She said that she went online last thing, because I'm sure people are like, we really don't care that much about these ice cream sandwiches
until you have one yourself, man.
Well,
don't knock it till you try it.
But they were sold out at a lot of places yesterday. But
really? She
happened to be, because she was looking on her phone and she was in the vicinity of the Walmart, I think in Turkey Creek. And she was like, okay, all the stores by our house sold out. And then it said the Walmart in Turkey Creek had them. So she was like, oh, I'm like quarter mile
right
away.
There.
I'm going to pull in there and grab them. So
I would have felt bad if you said like Sue was going around town to like 5 different Walmarts to go find these.
yeah. The sad part is she was looking for some little ottoman for a chair in our bedroom. So she was out on a mission anyway. So then this just added to it. And this was probably far less expensive than any ottoman that she picked up. So wish she'd just focus on the ice cream sandwiches and less on the furniture. All right, boys, we got things to talk about. We are going to lead. Topic A today is going to be about, bear with us, it's about the ACC and Big Ten media days. And I know at first blush, you're like, what? Well, first of all, some more SEC in the head of Big Ten coaches talk happened yesterday. Cannot believe that it happens for a second day. And then there was some nice stuff said in the ACC media days. One, most notably, about Coach Josh Heupel. It's kind of cool. But the bigger reason we're going to lead with this, we talked about it yesterday, we just simply didn't have enough time to talk about it, is this college football playoff expansion. The more I read about it, the more we've been saying it, I am convinced that they're not going to get anything resolved in terms of expansion beyond 12 teams anytime soon. And that's partly because the Big Ten commissioner is a clown. I mean, the rationale that he has put out for what he believes the college football playoffs should look like is just wrong-headed, man, on every level. So we're going to talk a little bit about that because it feels to me like all the other Power Four conference commissioners, I was saying yesterday that they are all not aligned. They're actually more aligned than I thought. It's really this one dude that's sitting on his own island, and I just think he could mess the whole thing up if anybody's really interested in expanding the field. We'll talk about all of this when we return, so stick around. You're listening to Under Review, and it's Fan Run Radio.
Take Fan Run Radio with you on the all-new Fan Run app. Just search for Fan Run Radio wherever you download your apps. Rickard Ridge Barbecue, located in beautiful Cove Lake State Park. Rickard Ridge is home of the best ribs in the Volunteer State. Smoked daily by pitmaster Mark Rickard. The barbecue at Rickard Ridge is mouth-watering, fall-off-the-bone delicious. Take the scenic drive up I-75 to exit 134. For directions and to look at the rest of the menu, visit Rickard Ridge online at rickardridgebbq.com.
Your Smokies are back home this week and so many great promotions every single night, like All You Can Eat Wednesday and Thirsty Thursday with half-off draft beers. Huge special guest on Friday. You guessed it, Santa and Mrs. Claus. It's Christmas in July. And on Saturday, it's wrestling night with live matches after the game. Fireworks both nights. Sunday, make sure to get the little ones out early with Peppa Pig.
I'm Peppa Pig.
Grab your tickets now at SmokiesBaseball.com.
Believe in family. Believe in your fellow man. Believe in honesty and an honest day's work. We do. We're Farm Bureau Insurance. And we don't just believe in Tennessee. We believe in Tennesseans. Farm Bureau Insurance. Tennessee's insurance company.
This is Baseball VFL Cody Brown. Farm Bureau Insurance is the official insurance for Tennesseans. Believe in me for all of your insurance needs. Give me a call at 865-992-3871.
Ready to launch your career? Axle Logistics is a leading third-party logistics company where excellence is an energy. With an award-winning culture, Axle proves that positive outcomes come from a positive environment and a work hard, play hard mentality. At Axle, the drive for success is infectious. And with an uncapped commission structure, hard work isn't just noticed, it's rewarded. For those with big goals and even bigger dreams, Axle Logistics is the place to start your career.
A brand built in Tennessee and born from the love of the game, Inward Half revolutionizes golfing comfort. Crafted by a former pro and dedicated enthusiast just like you, our luxury performance wear guarantees you stay cool and comfortable through every swing and every day. We're not just a brand. We've set out to create a lifestyle for those who understand that impeccable style and premium performance are a hole-in-one. Enjoy the walk-in with Inward Half.
Topic A for today on Under Review, a recap of another day of soundbite magic from the Big Ten and ACC media days. We'll start with the Big Ten. Here we go again. Another pot shot at the SEC. This time, I wasn't expecting this one, although he is a little bit of a character, but this time it was University of Washington, UW's coach, Jedd Fisch. I don't know, Sam. all of us at Under Review have always we've been Jedd Fisch fans back when he was at Arizona, and kind of gave him benefit of the doubt in season 1 at Washington. But he made a comment yesterday during his time on the podium out in Vegas. He said, and I quote, "Hey, the NFL doesn't play the CFL in the middle of the season." And what he's referring to there is the late season FCS matchups that happen with a number of SEC teams. Our late season matchup this year is, I think, New Mexico State. So it's not FCS, but it's a pretty bad team. And it does happen. I get it. But again, tell me that the Big Ten is not in the heads of their coaches, or the SEC is not in the heads of the coaches in the Big Ten without doing it. I mean, they can't stop talking about it, man. I don't understand it. Do you think this was like a strategy at the outset or what?
It sure seems like it, to be quite honest with you, because, you know, I feel like there was a decent contingent of people out there that were like, oh, Big Ten media days, who cares? ACC media days, who cares? We were on here saying, I don't care about any comments that's going to come out of it, but maybe it is a strategy for them just to be like, let's piss the SEC off because we know their fans are going to get riled up and make it a big media storm and everything like that. I don't know. I mean, this does just kind of feel like it is trying to call out the SEC as best they can and say, oh man, like these guys need to. Feels like they're trying to just send subtle media jabs to the SEC to like bully them into the 9-game schedule. And I don't think SEC fans or Greg Sankey or SEC coaches, I feel like they don't really care. I feel like they're just like, all right, guys, keep talking. You know, I mean, nothing's really going to change here. You can definitely say that, you know, we're playing a CFL team in the middle of the season, but you're also playing Purdue on November 15th.
Right.
Like that's pretty close to a CFL team these days as well.
It's very true. It's very true. That's what we were talking about yesterday. It's like for these teams that keep, you know, espousing we have a 9-game conference schedule. Well, that's, again, that many teams that get to play the worst team in the conference. And it's laughable to me. Now, elsewhere, Jedd Fisch got off the stage, and then we heard from some of the coaches who have teams that are really in the mix. James Franklin had an interesting position. He was getting asked a question about, are you guys going to start playing Pitt again? It's a fair question. And Franklin's answer, and it's hard for me to say, I can get behind what James Franklin was saying, but I did, because I think in the midst of all this nonsense, he actually had a pretty sensible response. He goes, we'd love to play Pitt. We also, you know, we play West Virginia, our non-conference schedule. It really is important to us. And then he segued into the 8 versus 9 game schedule. And he goes, and, you know, this leads me to this whole thing about conference schedule, conference games. I'm paraphrasing, but his message was, I don't care if we played 9 games or if we played 8 games. It doesn't matter to me, but I do think that across all the power conferences, it should be the same number, because the theory would be, and it is reasonable to say, that should factor into a playoff selection committee's criteria, right? So I think that's fair, right? I think that's fair. But what he wasn't saying was SEC, because he goes, I used to coach there, man. He was like, he didn't say SEC, get on board, go to 9 games. He was like, I'm fine if we went to 8. But let's just get it square across the board. It's like James Franklin speaking like common sense.
Yeah. Maybe the only thing I'm going to agree with James Franklin on here, Bob, and maybe the only thing I'll give him some praise on, because I'm not a big James Franklin guy, right. But I think he's right, man. Like the uniformity is exactly what everyone wants, and you know, there's a lot of people that are saying SEC's got to go to 9, and I don't know. I think it's refreshing to see a Big Ten coach that, to your point, does have experience coaching in the SEC and has kind of been through this grind, and frankly has been through it at one of the hardest schools, if not the hardest school in the conference to go win at. And he did a damn good job of winning at that place. And so,
right.
You know, I think he knows, like, it's not easy to go out there and get wins in the SEC, and it doesn't matter what team you are, whether you're Vanderbilt like him or whether you're Georgia or Texas or, Tennessee, Alabama, all these teams that view themselves kind of at the top of the conference. It's just as hard for anyone at the top as it is at the bottom. And you got to go out there and, it's a grueling stretch week in and week out in SEC play. And, obviously SEC fans think that equates to not having to go play an extra conference game. And kind of sounds like James Franklin agrees as well, but he's just saying, you know what, I just want to be able to have some straight line across the board uniformity, because it does kind of feel like that difference between like 8 to 9 conference games and stuff like that might be a bit of a factor in some of the decision making when it comes to kind of some postseason stuff.
Honestly, maybe it's a reach, but I think maybe this was kind of a subliminal toss of, I think, it's important for us to play really good non-conference teams, but I can only do that if we're playing 8 conference games.
Yeah.
Kind of like, I'd love to get Pitt into the mix. Because growing up, I do remember, Penn State and Pitt, backyard brawl has always been one. Now, West Virginia is not where they once were, but still, those are games, man. Those are big time games. So I appreciate him saying that much at least. So again, we will erase the tape after this, but we're giving James Franklin a teeny bit of positive feedback. I don't even want to say praise. Just, we're with you.
Yeah.
We're with you. Dan Lanning, now, he was a little more radical. He focused in his comments on the length of the season, and pretty specifically the college football playoff. He proposes that the season ends around the beginning of January, just like it used to. Okay. He's saying eliminate the buys in the playoffs, which I guess would presume that's he's a fan of the 16 team format, because you would need something like that, or maybe revert back to 8, which I don't think will ever happen. His quote was, college football belongs on Saturday. It does not belong to the NFL. I was like, hell yeah, he's right. Because I did not like that when that was happening in December. He also is a fan, and a lot of coaches have talked about this. We've talked about it. Eliminate week 0. Start the season. You don't like it?
No.
Why?
Everybody loves football as early as you can get it, Bob.
No. You didn't let me finish. I'm sorry. He's saying eliminate week 0 and make that week 1.
So just everybody in the nation plays in week 0.
Move it up.
I'm back in.
There you go. Now, there you go. Context. Yeah, I agree. I think, week 0, the only game right now that I've seen that I care about, Garrett's a football nerd. He would probably know the details of every game in week 0, but Iowa State and K-State in Dublin, that's going to be pretty solid, but that's about it, right, on week 0?
Yeah, there's 4 games. So there's that one, Hawaii, Stanford, Western Kentucky, Sam Houston, and Idaho State, UNLV.
Yeah. So, man, move that. Yeah, let's get, his whole point is, again, making the season condensed. Now, the one thing I will say is kind of convenient. He said it. He came clean. He goes, again, I'm paraphrasing, but the message was, we got our asses kicked in the playoffs. And I can't help but think part of it was we had a long break. We were off for almost a month. Ohio State, and we've talked about this before. We've talked about it in the NCAA tournament in basketball. If you kind of get hot and you get a rhythm going, that's much more valuable at that time of year than getting the time off.
Yeah, I do think that brings in the rest versus rust argument and stuff like that. And was a team where you maybe a little bit healthier, yeah, but did you kind of get out of your rhythm and out of your flow? I think that's also a fair thing to say. And you let an Ohio State team that just kind of was beaten down and maybe mentally kind of defeated after the regular season with that loss to Michigan, and then they kind of get a chance to play in that first week and just absolutely roll over our team, and then they gain all of that momentum from being able to just beat the hell out of Tennessee, and it just continues on into that Oregon game, and you saw that it was just kind of curtains from start to finish basically in that one. So I don't know. I don't necessarily disagree with him. I think, it maybe I would also say, like, you need a little bit more of a sample size, I think, to kind of maybe make sure that is a trend that kind of continues. But I do think that's even a thing when you get into like the NFL and you get those bye weeks and stuff like that. How do those teams kind of look coming off of a week of rest?
Yeah. I think back to that first half of that game was still, that's probably the most stunning thing I saw in the college football playoffs last season. I mean, did anybody see that coming? The way Ohio State just mauled them right off the bat. Almost couldn't believe what I was watching.
Yeah.
So those were the things that came out of yesterday with the Big Ten media days. Now today's their last day, and there is little to no interest unless somebody says something like the SEC sucks or something. The only thing that is of interest otherwise is Nico Iamaleava will be on stage at around 3 p.m. Eastern time today. So that'll be the one thing we'll monitor and report back on tomorrow, but that's about it. Now, the ACC Media Days, a couple things worth noting. Syracuse coach Fran Brown, maybe he's just trying to do the whole please take it easy on me position, or maybe he's sandbagging. We don't know. But yesterday, during his availability, he mentioned the opener against Tennessee, and he called Josh Heupel a top 5 coach nationally.
Ball knower.
That's right. Thought it was great. We like Fran Brown. We've already talked about Fran Brown in the past. What was it he was doing? He doesn't shower when they win games or something. Yeah. I forget what it was, but we're Fran Brown fans, and now we're bigger Fran Brown fans. Try to say that 5 times fast. So he called Josh Heupel a top 5 coach. Elsewhere, Florida State's Mike Norvell talked about how his team will be playing desperate this season. Damn right, you better be. This guy will be on a flaming hot seat if they have another season like last year.
Yeah,
they gotta win. They gotta get back into like serious, like comfortable bowl level.
Let's get people into the stadium, maybe.
Yeah,
that's a good start.
Yeah. Now, there was one guy who talked a little trash, not towards the SEC, but he talked trash to the schools in the ACC that are in his state. New coach at Wake Forest, Jake Dickert. Did you see this, Sam?
I didn't. What did he say?
He said, "We are the winningest football program in the state of North Carolina this century, and we're the only school in the state in the last 40 years to win an ACC title." So I think he was framing it of, I'm proud to have this opportunity. This is a school that you may not understand this, but this school has produced some pretty good football. I'd say pump the brakes there. I mean, they have had some entertaining teams, I would say for sure, but
the bar's not set super high over there.
No,
you're not, you got to beat out what, North Carolina, Duke, and like NC State type of thing.
Yeah.
Not maybe, not the most impossible thing to do in the world.
Yeah. And if he's talking about the state at large, you got Charlotte.
Yeah.
App State. So
ECU.
Yeah. So, and then last one was, and this was kind of tongue in cheek, but Pat Narduzzi, he spent a lot of time glazing Bill Belichick about he's going to turn things around immediately. And he then said, I expect North Carolina and Bill Belichick to be playing Pitt in the ACC championship game. It's like,
I am excited for Bill Belichick's media availability.
Yeah, that's what we'll be watching for today. He and Dabo, they go today. So that's about the only remaining point of interest in the ACC. But
I think Jordan walks him up the stage.
God, yeah. Adjust his mic for him. Mm-hmm. Here, try that, honey. How's that sound?
Don't answer that question, Bill.
Yeah.
We're not answering that one.
Yeah,
okay, you can do that.
They'll ask a question. He'll look off stage, like
it's a little nod.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, we're feeling pretty good about 2025, and we're going in with a positive mindset and everything like that.
We're just moving on to the next game. Wake Forest, Duke, NC State. It's all about winning games, one game at a time.
Or she just writes something down and shows it to him on a piece of paper, and he just reads it off or something.
Yeah, exactly. Now, all that to say, those were some of the highlights of some sound bites, if you will. The real topic at this point, and this is born out of what we've heard at the Big Ten Media Days this week from their commissioner, Tony Petitti, and that is the disconnect that continues on college football playoff expansion among the conference commissioners, and specifically It's the big two conferences. First, we know where Greg Sankey stands. We heard about it last week. He's a proponent of the 5-11 plan, okay? And it sounds like Jim Phillips of the ACC agrees. He was like 5-9, 5-11. We don't care. We're down with either one. Same for Brett Yormark in the Big 12. A few weeks back at their media days, he said, we want to earn our spots. It's no surprise to me, Sam, that the ACC and the Big 12 feel this way because they're watching what's happening above them, and they know that they can't necessarily stack up in the hierarchy with the Big 10 and the SEC. So they're going to stay vocal about, we don't want you guys to have all the automatic bids. Let's earn it on the field. And Sankey seems to feel that way too. But of course, Sankey's a fan of the 9-game schedule, and there's always a method to the madness with Sankey, I feel too. But Big 10, Tony Petitti, as I said earlier, he's on an island and he's going down fighting with the 4-4-2-2-1-3 format. With
what is this, a soccer formation, Brent?
Sounds like it.
It doesn't end there, man. He wants a conference play-in weekend to boot. And let's just put this in perspective. If that format had been the case last season, say we were having that expanded college football playoff format. If that 4-4-2-2-1-3 format existed, it's very, very plausible that a team like 8-4 Iowa could have ended up in the college football playoffs.
Never know when that offense is going to put it together. You know, I mean, they might be able to go make some magic happen in the playoff, Bob.
Yeah. I mean, it's incredible. And I use this term in the open, and I got to credit it to Joe Rexrode with The Athletic. He's the one who had it because I think it's simple and it cuts to the point. He being Petitti is talking about rewarding status over achievement. And he also made the comment, let's better connect the regular season with the postseason. That's his whole MO. I just think this is horse bleep. I just can't even believe. The more I hear it, the more I'm stunned that he's not willing to get off of this point.
Why are we making the postseason so complicated?
Right.
I mean, it's
right.
really not we're just trying to tinker with the whole system year by year, and we just can't. Can we just let it sit for a little bit and just say, hey, let's just work this current format out for a couple of years and let's see what kind of problems arise from it. But let's give it a little bit of time. Let's not just go 1 year at a time and then go, hey, I need to expand to a whole nother 4 teams or something, or I need to change the format of how many automatic qualifiers each conference gets. And like, I want to go out there and I want to find the best way for regular season games to mean something, wins to matter, and just let's go out there and let's kind of work through what we've had for a few more years. And then if that's an issue 2-3 years down the road, then we can change it. But let's just stop with all right, 1 year of this, now let's change it. 1 year of that, now let's change it. Let's just flip everything on its head. It's kind of just exhausting to even think about. So until it like all officially happens, I just don't exactly give it all that much thought personally.
Yeah. Well, that's where I'm at. And where I'm netting out and I'm fine with it is because of his inability to get on board with what other people feel is the logical approach. They got to come to a conclusion by December 1st of this year. I don't think they're going to. And so I think the 12-team playoff format will live on for at least another year after this year. And I'm okay with it, man. Like you said, Sam, you guys go figure it out, but I'm tired of hearing about the perspective of why you think your path forward makes more sense than what 75% of the other Power 4 conference commissioners believe. It's just crazy. Mm-hmm. But I think it's rooted in, again, there is this kind of, boxing out vibe that's going on. They're fighting for a rebound, so to speak, between the Big 10 and the SEC. And the Big 10 just can't let it go. And I'm just, again, kind of exhausted hearing about it. All right, let's take a break. Quick one. When we come back, short segment to wrap up hour one. We'll talk a little bit more about college football. We have stuff to talk about. Adidas, Boo Carter. There's a lot. We'll get to it when we return. Stick around. It's under review on Fan Run Radio.
You're listening to Fan Run Radio, the sports humans.
And here go. It's William Pattison, and this is your daily invite to Overtime on Fan Run Radio. Weeknights from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern, I'm breaking down everything you care about, from the latest Tennessee Volunteers news to bold takes on college football, the NFL, and NBA. If it's happening in the world of sports, I've got an angle on it. You bring the passion, and I'll deliver the truth, the fire, and the facts. It's Overtime with William Pattison, weeknights at 7, only on Fan Run Radio.
Citizens National Bank. We make it easy to save money. Get access to thousands of discounts on shopping, dining, and travel with the CNB Plus Perks account. It's a powerful new way to save money with roadside assistance, cell phone protection, identity theft protection, and credit monitoring. Banking at CNB has its perks. Call or stop by a branch for more details.
Citizens National Bank. Banking never felt so good.
Member FDIC.
I was afraid to cut the cord, but once I did, I couldn't believe it took so long to do it. Paying too much for my cable bill had become a bad habit. I either wasn't getting what I wanted or never knew where to find any of my favorite shows until it was too late. Plus, the prices just kept going up. Thankfully, I discovered a new way to watch called Philo. For just $25 a month, I can catch all my favorite shows on networks like BET, MTV, and TLC. It even has Nickelodeon for my kids. I can watch anytime I want, anywhere I want. Plus, Philo lets me have up to 3 streams at once, so everyone can watch what they want at the same time. Throw in the unlimited DVR that saves all my favorites for up to a year, and this really is the best deal in TV. I just wish I hadn't waited so long. Sound too good to be true? Well, try it out for yourself, and you'll see why people who love TV love Philo. Go to philo.tv, that's philo.tv, and start your 7-day free trial now.
Welcome back. So it sure feels like Adidas is going to be in the Vols uniform and footwear future. Now, there's no announcement, and there's been a lot of scuttle about this. There's been scuttle about it for weeks and weeks and weeks. But when Brent Hubbs put something out last night, Brett, I think you shared this with us, right?
Yeah.
I'm looking for it right now. Here it is. Brett Hubbs from VolQuest says, and I quote, "I don't think the Adidas deal gets finalized this week. I think they're in the refining and tweaking language before signing. It's taken longer than I thought it would, so maybe next week we'll see. Honestly, sounds like it could even be a couple more weeks." That would not be out there if it wasn't kind of real at this point. And I don't know. I've come to the conclusion, I know there's been a lot of back and forth on this, a lot of back and forth on what it's going to mean in terms of recruiting and all these other things. I'm just going to speak freely on this. People aren't all going to agree, and that's fine. I just don't care at this point. Again, we were talking about it yesterday off air, Sam, and I think a lot of people are pointing back at, I'm overseeing the Adidas uniforms from like 10, 11 years ago, because they were trash. They weren't good. I look more at what we've seen other schools put out there recently, and I'm like, it's fine, man. It's fine. And again, it's all about money at this stage of the game. I'm firmly believing that. I'm sure there's still some athletes that are hung up on Nike versus Adidas, and they prefer Nike. And if that's going to keep them from coming to Tennessee, then again, man, more than ever, just given what we've been talking about with Boo Carter and other things, is that the kind of kid that you really want here? If that's their top criteria is, are you Adidas or Nike? Am I crazy saying all that?
I mean, I think it just depends on the person. I feel like it's kind of a 50-50, and it's either you get somebody like you, Bob, who's just like, you know what, man, I don't really care what we're going in, as long as as long as it's a good deal kind of financially for the school that can, put a little more money in our pockets and help us in NIL or help us in, just offsetting some costs with the athletic department, stuff like that. I think there's a fair contingent of people that are just saying, man, just sign the deal for as much money as we can get. Doesn't really matter who it's with. And then I think that's kind of split down the middle with, I love the, the brand recognition of Nike and kind of what that is, not only to me as a fan, but maybe to your point, maybe some of these kids that are on the teams as well are still kind of like, man, I want to be a Nike guy, not an Adidas guy. I want to feel kind of like the top brand and the top priority. Adidas and Under Armour and all these other ones, they feel like secondary. They feel like a B-level product. And I don't know. I think eventually those players and stuff like that will just they'll get adjusted to it, type of thing. And you got to hope, on our case, that they don't screw up the uniforms as bad as they did 10 something years ago. And I don't know. I think you look at some of the schools around the country that are Adidas right now, and they don't really have like the flashiest uniforms and stuff like that. It just kind of feels traditional and kind of just letting their colors go and really having some subtle stuff. And I think when you've got kind of a fantastic traditional uniform like Tennessee does, it doesn't really take all that much to be able to kind of replicate what we've got, I think.
Yeah, we were talking about this yesterday, right? If you go, the best example to look at, and this is not including Adidas, but this is the transition from Under Armour to Nike that Auburn is doing. Auburn's uniform looks exactly the same, just got a different shoe logo on it. That's all. And I just feel like sometimes your brand is strong enough, as long as they don't let Adidas come in and try to, like reinvent the Tennessee football uniform or something like that. It's like, again, I don't think I care. I think where it'll play itself out maybe is more how creatively apt are they when it comes to doing alternate uniforms and those types of things.
Right.
That's what will tell the tale.
Yeah.
But that's a small portion of the time that we're going to see those uniforms.
One guy wrote, he does a lot of off the field branding stuff like that. He follows this along. He said Tennessee, was basically a done deal. And he's actually hearing that possibly that Tennessee could be the first of others, because a lot of expiring contracts with Nike happen next year. Like LSU, Ohio State, like Tennessee could just be first in line of many rebranding, and things like that. Now, I expect a lot of those to stay with Nike, but it's out there that Tennessee again could be one of its first schools that kind of get ahead of it.
Well, that's been the talk, is that Adidas has positioned this as you're going to be like one of our, I use the term anchor tenants, like if you're a shopping mall, you're you're the biggest store.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you're right. There could be others that follow suit there. With Nike, Tennessee's not in that consideration set. Clearly, we know that. So I don't know. I'm just of the mind that, man, each time I'm hearing it's going to happen, it's like, man, just get it done at this point. I don't care that much. I just think it'd take a lot for them to like ruin the look of the brand here. I just don't buy that.
Adidas is big time. I mean, they do all those Premier League teams. I mean, every one of those.
The last thing I'll say on that is, again, we've said it before. It bears repeating. It's Nike versus Adidas. There is probably a big delta between the two, but it's not, we're leaving Nike to go to Skechers or, something like that. I mean, we're
Reebok.
It's like, it's legit, man. It's just legit. It's not exactly what everybody wants, but I think it's fine, man. It's just fine. I'm not saying it's going to be fire, but fine. All right. That wraps up hour one of the show today. Let's take a quick time out. When we return, time to talk a little Boo Carter. Not that we have a whole lot to report, but other than things are starting to get validated. Some of the things that were considered rumorish are not so much rumors, apparently. We're going to be talking about that. And we'll also be joined by Ryan Callahan with GoVols 247 in hour two to talk about that, recruiting, maybe a little basketball. There's a lot to talk about there. We'll get to all of that when we return. Stick around. It's Under Review on Fan Run Radio.
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville, and W289CU Knoxville, Fan Run Radio. Now, it's time for your Atlanta Braves morning update, presented by Tidal Wave Auto Spa. Get clean car happy at any of the 250 plus Tidal Wave Auto Spa locations today.
Braves fall in Game 3 to the Giants. I'm Barrett Salee, and this is your Braves Radio Network morning update.
Get clean car happy all season long at Tidal Wave with exclusive membership discounts, giveaways, and more. Visit TidalWaveAutoSpa.com/Braves for more information.
The Braves fell to the Giants 9-3 on Wednesday afternoon. They dropped to 4-11 in rubber games of series this season. It was a tough day for Spencer Strider. He gave up 3 walks. He gave up 5 hits and 3 earned runs in the loss. He took the loss, and he is 4-8 on the season. Another good day, though, for Drake Baldwin. He got a double, knocked in 2, got the Braves off a scoring drought in the 7th inning.
Line down the left field line. That's in for a base hit, and one hops over the sidewall. That'll be a double for Baldwin. It'll drive in 2 runs, and for the first time since Game 1, the Braves are on the board.
Braves are off today. They'll head to Texas to take on the Rangers starting on Friday night. Joey Wentz getting the ball for the Braves. He is 2-1, has a 5.71 ERA and 36 strikeouts. The veteran going for the Rangers. For leadoff show coming your way, 6:50 Eastern time. First pitch against the Rangers with Ben and Joe, 8:05 Eastern, 7:05 Central on the Braves Radio Network.
White Claw is taking hard seltzer to new heights with White Claw Surge. At 8% alcohol, White Claw Surge is a stronger wave of refreshment that doesn't compromise on taste. Available in 4 bold waves of flavor like ripe blackberry, citrusy blood orange, zesty natural lime, and tart cranberry. Check out your favorite retailer in-store and online for the White Claw Surge Variety 12-pack and 16-ounce single-serve cans. White Claw Surge. Please drink responsibly.
Hey Knoxville, Surfside iced tea and vodka made with real brewed tea is only 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar with no bubbles and no troubles. That's right, 0 carbonation, so it's easy to sip and enjoy. Headed to a game day or party at a friend's house? Bring an iced tea or lemonade variety pack from Surfside or try their green tea and new raspberry tea vodka. Find the can with the sunset stripes this season. Surfside iced tea and vodka, sold at bars, restaurants, and stores near you. Surfside iced tea and vodka, sunshine in a can. Must be 21 or older. Enjoy responsibly.
Whether you are buying or selling a home or even looking for some land to build on and start a family, be sure to give Reed Emerson with Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate Heritage Group a shout. He is a longtime listener and supporter of Fan Run and has been serving the Mid-State for many years. Reed prides himself on his hassle-free and honest approach, and that's because he's not just chasing another commission. He wants what is best for his clients. Give Reed Emerson a call or text him today to get the process started. His number is 931-492-0418, or you can find him online at bhgheritagegroup.com.
Hour 2 of Under Review starts now.
Studios of Fox Sports Knoxville, Fan Run Radio. It's Under Review. You've got Bob and Sam and Brett Garrett here on a Thursday, winding the week down. Appreciate you spending time with us. Let us know what's on your mind. There's a lot happening out there, whether it's Boo Carter, whether it's Adidas, whether it's college football playoff formats, you name it. Phone lines are open. Area code 865-966-3435. That's 966-3435. You can also hit us up on X at Fox Sports Knox. Got a message on the text box. Comes from someone in the 615 area code.
Heyo.
Now, don't know if they're here in Knoxville or if they're still over in the mid-state. But they gave us, and I'm looking at this. Ooh, he was right. He or she was right. They said, good luck, boys. We were talking about the weather earlier. Good luck, boys. Going to be 100 next week.
Nice.
And I'm looking at the Weather Channel, weather.com, looking at the dailies, moving into next week. Monday, high of 96. Tuesday, high of 99. Wednesday, high of 100. Opening day of practice. Of course, those guys I think are indoors, but Thursday, 95. And then it drops down into the 80s at the end of the week, at the beginning of August.
I guess I'm just going to stay at the studio till the sun goes down every day next week.
Yeah. And not much rain chance either. So I don't know if that means it'll be a dry heat or not. It's just going to be hot as hell.
Maybe I can just start working out in my upstairs and do like a sauna and a workout at the same time.
Probably could. Why not? Right? Works. My son built himself one of those red light little therapy booths.
Yeah.
He loves it.
Nice.
Does it at the
He
end
built it himself?
Yeah. Well,
I like
he bought like a little, shed thing, like at Home Depot or
Sure.
whatever, and then did the rest. And he's got it out like separate of his place, his condo, his apartment, on his patio, which is all screened in. So he's got it in a corner, and then he's kind of dressed it with some faux foliage and stuff. So it just looks more decorative.
There we go. I like that. I
Yeah,
like that.
but he swears by it.
I have heard great things about that.
Yeah.
I haven't
I've
ventured
never-
into the red
yeah.
light therapy stuff, but I have heard it's pretty good for you.
Well, it makes me wonder, at one point, Reed and I did something with the Cookie Man, Logan Quinton, way back when at like whatever that's called. Hotworks.
Yeah.
I won't give them a further plug than that, but I think that's what you do. You're like working out in kind of a red light type of thing. It's hot as hell. That's all I remember. But felt pretty good after doing it. Not going to lie. Not going to lie. All right. Let's get moving, talking about something we'd prefer not to talk about, but it keeps coming up. I think it's going to hit a little bit of a dead spot now, but I do appreciate the work of Adam Sparks at Knox News yesterday, who he put out a piece regarding the latest when it comes to Boo Carter, because there's all sorts of speculation on what's going on there. And what Adam did was bring a little bit of, I guess, truth to what we had been hearing as rumors, or as many were calling them, boomers. The key points, as Adam wrote, was tell us something we don't know, but football player Boo Carter's status with the team is uncertain due to missed team activities. Carter was confronted by team leaders regarding his absences, reminding fans of former quarterback Nico Iamaleava's exit. One thing I've heard there, Sam, is confronted is a kind way to put it. Heard might have got a little physical with one of the leadership council guys. Heard maybe Joshua Josephs was a little forceful.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like to see that.
Me too.
I mean, I think it's the sign of a I guess you kind of have to go glass half full or glass half empty with this thing that I'm about to say here, but I think it's the sign of a healthy program. That it sucks that you've got somebody like Boo Carter that maybe isn't kind of showing how healthy of a program it is right now, but I think it also shows that that's kind of maybe a little bit more of an individual mentality, and there's plenty of guys in this locker room on this team that are kind of taking the the approach of, hey man, this is a team game, and you can't go out there and you can't do it yourself, and no matter how talented you are, it's still a team at the end of the day, and we're all working together for the same end goal. And so if you're not on the same page with me with that end goal, then I'm not going to take a liking to that one. And so I think it's good to see that your players are kind of the ones taking the approach of, hey man, you got to fall in line and you got to be with the rest of us, or you're not going to be with us, instead of, coaches having to do this. Obviously it's come to this point now that it's, leaked out and these rumors are running rampant and stuff like that. I'm sure the coaches are obviously having to take a little bit more into their hands, but the fact that there's other players on this roster, upperclassmen guys that see the vision and see the foundation that's been laid, they're not just letting anybody walk in here, no matter how talented they are, and kind of push them around and let them do whatever they want to do, and have some selfish nature to them, and that's hurting the team, and they're taking a stand and saying, hey man, like I'm tired of running after practice because you've got to go in here and skip a meeting or something like that. Like, it's not fair to all the other guys on the team. So I'm going to go out there and I'm going to make a statement. I don't like that it has to be, Josh Josephs has to go fight the guy apparently in practice. But if that's what it takes, and that's the leadership on our team, then you've seen it before. So let's go out there and let's do it.
Yeah, man. I support it 100%. I mean, I think this is one of those, you don't confuse it with like locker room discord, like, Heupel's losing the locker room or anything.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, this is a battle to save the locker room, right? That's the way I look at it. Again, it's a microcosm of what we heard. You brought it up yesterday when we were talking about Big Ten Media Days, when, we focused on like stupid stuff like Kurt Signetti saying what he said, when in fact Mike Locksley might have had some of the most kind of noteworthy comments of the whole session that day, saying, man, I lost my locker room and it was because of NIL and all these other things. And I can't help but think that's derivative of what we're talking about here with Boo. Basically, it's kind of evolved into that. We were talking about it yesterday. I said, I feel like this has changed from my first interpretation was he was just a kid who's making stupid mistakes, to now I think this is more strategic. And I do think it's another money play, and you got to stop it, man. That's all, one way or another. And to your point, players, some of these guys they're grown men, not just physically, but some of them are like emotionally and mentally too. And this means more to them than just some of the dollars that they get. And yeah, I'm all on board with it for sure.
I think you'll start to see these type of I get they are problems, but I think you'll start to see these kind of things maybe become a little bit more commonplace kind of in the current state of college football, where, you kind of talked about the comments that we saw from Kirby about, we're not trying to get guys that are in here that are on a transactional basis. We want to get guys that love football. And I think you're going to start to see that there's kind of not a complete split, but I think there's going to be a group of guys in each locker room that there's going to be a couple guys that are kind of in it for, man, I can make a lot of money doing this. And this is an easy way for me to kind of go out here and support myself and probably support my family as well. And I think there's going to be another group of guys that are saying, yeah, the money's nice along the way, but God, I love playing football and I want to be able to do this for my life, and I want to go out there and do it as a career. And some of those people are kind of getting in the way of those guys, and they're going to go out there and they're going to, voice their opinion and say, hey man, we've got bigger fish to fry than you skipping out on a practice type of thing. We've got bigger goals in mind. So if you're not going to be aligned with our goals, then we'll show you the door type of thing. I just think you're going to start seeing kind of some of the differences between, hey, I'm going out there and I'm wanting to make money and do the best for myself. And you're going to see the other guys in the locker room that love playing football and love the team aspect of it, that speak up and say, we're not going to let that happen in our team. I think that's kind of maybe the difference between a Josh Josephs and a Boo Carter right now. Both extremely talented players, but it seems like Josh Josephs may be in it for the right reasons a little bit more right now.
Yeah. One of the things that Sparks mentioned in his article on KnoxNews.com was he was kind of talking about the history of what's happened in a short amount of time with this team, whether it was Nico splitting back in April, but also Ricky Gibson and Mike Matthews kind of flirting with the portal, ended up staying, but you could tell that was a money play. And then all of the back and forth that went on with James Pierce too. And now this with Boo. And I put this out there, not just to you, Sam, or you, Brett, or you, Garrett, but also to the listeners too. One of the things that Adam Sparks mentions is he says, it's a frustrating development for UT fans who deserve more stability. Do we deserve that? I mean, we pay good money to support a team that we want to do well, but the path to get there, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to be nitpicking Adam's work, but when I read that, I was like, I don't know if we deserve it or not, or entitled to it, but I mean, it'd sure be nice. I don't have any issue with that point of view.
Why wouldn't we?
I don't know. I'm just sitting there thinking all this stuff that's happening. It's I guess what you have to remember is Josh is putting a team together to win for the school, which I guess is indirectly for the fans. I mean, I guess that's the point. I guess for the fans who are like, hey man, we give you our heart and soul supporting this team. The least you could do is just kind of cut through all the crap and all the drama. Maybe that was the point.
I mean, I think he's kind of, I don't know. I get the vibe of he's kind of saying like, hey man, you've got a coach that clearly is trying to kind of set the right culture. And I think your fans are kind of seeing that. And so they deserve to see success on that side of the field, just stuff that is off the field, not even just the product that gets put on the field on Saturdays and stuff like that. I think maybe he's trying to say like Josh Heupel has come in and has built a healthy culture and the fans kind of deserve to reap the benefits of that. And you're kind of seeing maybe the ugly side of that in one off season. And so I think he's just saying like over the last, 6 months or whatever it's been since all of this stuff has been kind of unfolding with the Tennessee football team. I think they're just saying that you're not really seeing this in too many other places around the country right now. So you feel like the success that he's done in his first couple of years, you feel like you'd be kind of reaping the benefits a little bit more than what you've been seeing now over the last few months.
That's a good way to frame it. Excuse me. The other thing I was thinking about is Sparks maybe putting it through the filter of, man, we had a point where the fan base was getting apathetic about this program, and that's the worst place you can have it. That is the worst place you can have it. So maybe his point was also they deserve better because what we sure don't want to do is we don't want to go back there where fans start being like, I'm out. I'm not buying season tickets for a team that I don't even know what it's going to look like each year because these players keep deciding to come and go and et cetera. Brett, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, from a fan perspective, because you're as passionate as they come.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing really new. I'm still kind of in that same boat. It's just frustrating to read all this stuff. And
But do you feel that as Sparks or the fans deserve better? I mean, do you feel like, I'm not saying, hey, we don't deserve a good team. We don't deserve, I'm just saying, does that factor into this? Is this enough to get you where you're like, I'm out on this team, man?
Yeah, I mean, our hard-on money is going towards this kid and this team and things like that. And, or for a lot of people, it is and stuff like that. So it's a little frustrating to see that, a guy we're heavily counting on and a team we love is having these issues. And, you think back to one of the best seasons Heupel's had, 22, the whole Jeremy Banks locker room issue and things like that kind of derailed that. I think that had an issue going into biggest game of the season at that point. And so it's a little frustrating, especially a guy that's you're counting on so heavily to be an important role, be a big part of this team. And I think we do deserve better, and I think, these guys on this team, I know they're young, but they have to realize that too, that a lot of people, pour a lot of money in this team and they want to see him succeed. And he's a big part of that. And now it's frustrating. We're having to talk about this with the season so close.
Yeah, I agree. Well, to put a bow on it for now, I think that you would think maybe I was of the mind they might get something resolved here in the next day or two, and maybe they will, but they have like a team meeting. I think they convene starting Sunday night. So you got to believe at least internally, they've got to get some stuff resolved in the next few days. Heupel will be speaking to the media on the 29th, which is Tuesday. Got to believe if he doesn't head that one off at the pass, it's going to get asked by the working media.
Oh yeah.
It's inevitable. So it seems to me like we'll get some level of direction on this, good, bad, or indifferent, by the time they start this practice on the 30th, because that's when things get real. So,
and there's something before that, like is he on campus or not? The weekend
that's what I'm
stuff.
saying. I think Sunday night will be the one. Everybody's going to be watching that closely because that's when they all kind of get together, and that'll be very interesting. We'll continue to monitor. Of course, we'll also talk about it in our next segment with a guy who does a great job covering Vol recruiting for football, but he also covers all the other sports too. new guest to the show. We're looking forward to him joining us. Ryan Callahan with Go Vols 247. He'll be with us in just a few moments, so stick around. We'll be right back. It's Under Review on Fan Run Radio.
For the fans, by the fans, this is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
Barley's has live music on weekends, general team trivia on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m., and now live sports trivia courtesy of the Knoxville Trivia Guys every Thursday night upstairs. The game starts at 7 p.m. and is free to play for everyone, so head on down to the Old City and show off your sports knowledge and win gift cards to Barley's. Use those gift cards to buy some delicious food and drinks, and you can take it all in with their wide selection of TVs and indoor projectors. Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria.
A brand built in Tennessee and born from the love of the game. Inward Half revolutionizes golfing comfort. Crafted by a former pro and dedicated enthusiast just like you, our luxury performance wear guarantees you stay cool and comfortable through every swing and every day. We're not just a brand. We've set out to create a lifestyle for those who understand that impeccable style and premium performance are a hole-in-one. Enjoy the walk-in with Inward Half.
Doctors take Field of Greens for their own health. Here's Dr. Ryan Green to explain.
We're like you, too much fast food and not enough exercise. That's why I take Field of Greens. The fruits and vegetables in Field of Greens support my heart, lungs, kidneys, and metabolism for weight loss. And Field of Greens promises your doctor will notice your improved health or your money back.
Get 15% off with promo code RADIO at fieldofgreens.com. That's promo code RADIO at fieldofgreens.com. Product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Yo, 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 what is up with it, homies? Talk sports. That's the show you want. It's the longest running sports radio morning show in town. You want your radio shows to be fun, and that's what Talk Sports is. Fun, fun, fun. No weirdo callers. I like Tennessee. Gonna go 6-6 this year. No nerdy guests. Well, their receiver depth is a little bit thin. Just two of the most entertaining guys in town, and Bubba giving you what you need. Tune in 7 to 10 a.m. every weekday here on Fan Run Radio.
When it's past high noon, it's time for a vodka soda made with a vodka you've actually heard of. I'm talking White Claw vodka soda made with White Claw premium vodka. JB Smooth only drinks vodka soda made with the world's smoothest vodka.
And you can too. Pick you up a bottle of the Triple Wave filtered vodka that's been distilled 5 times. White Claw Premium Vodka comes in 4 flavors: black cherry, mango, pineapple, and just vodka. You haven't had vodka like this. No one has. White Claw Premium Vodka. Please drink responsibly.
Welcome back to Under Review. You got Bob Baskerville here with Sam Beard, making our way through the week here on a Thursday, continuing the conversation about Tennessee football. We've got on-field activities getting closer and closer with the formal opening of camp next week. And there's other things swirling around that, of course. But most notably, before that drama started, we were spending our time talking about a heater, so to speak, in terms of what we were seeing in terms of Vol football recruiting. So I thought it'd be good to get the perspective from a guy who does a fantastic job covering just that. He's the recruiting editor at Go Vols 247, guy that I had the chance to meet at a barbecue joint. Just bumped into him, and next thing you know, he was kind enough to join us on the show. It's Ryan Callahan. Ryan, thank you for spending time with us. How are you, man?
Doing well. How are you?
Pretty good. Have you frequented that place since we last met, ran into each other there?
Not frequented, but I have been back. So
Yes.
yeah, that's a somewhat regular stop.
It is for us too. We're about, we're like a half a mile away, so we're probably there more than we'd care to admit, but it's good stuff. But I appreciate you joining us today, man.
Absolutely.
We were just talking about this, and I don't want to dedicate too much time to it. However, I'd be remiss if we didn't just get your 2 cents on, be it as it may, what you are kind of deducing on this whole situation with Boo Carter? We know we probably won't hear a whole lot. Adam Sparks gave a pretty good synopsis of things yesterday at the News Sentinel, and we'll probably just need to wait to hear from Josh, but just kind of curious where you net out on this whole thing. Is it just, again, get used to the new normal in collegiate sports?
Well, yeah. I mean, this is kind of this is sort of more of an old school thing. You know, this is not a, you know, I think this has been mischaracterized in some cases. You know, this isn't an NIL dispute or anything like that. This is, you know, there are just some things that, and we've got an update from yesterday that we posted what we know about the situation so far, and you know, it is just you know, Boo Carter hasn't done everything that he needed to do in the way that it needed to be done throughout the course of the offseason, and that's led to some issues with teammates and things like that have you know, caused his status to be up in the air now, and so he's not been around the team this week, and we'll see where it goes from here. You know, it's one of those things that sometimes does happen. You know, it's not something we see a lot, but you know, you'd see issues like this in the past, and sometimes things like this are handled internally and nothing more comes of it. But in this case, you got a guy that, you know, I think is you know, trying to sort of figure out how he's going to respond to this whole situation. And I think there's maybe a chance it works out okay, and a chance it doesn't. And we'll just have to kind of see where it goes from here. But a lot of it's just kind of up to the people involved to decide how they want to handle things and what they're sort of willing to do to proceed forward.
I think it's fair to say that the secondary has kind of been that position group that Tennessee has probably gotten the least amount of traction on in terms of blue chip talent coming into the building. Given that lack of depth in that room, do you think that kind of changes the calculus on the decision making regarding this news surrounding Boo Carter?
You know, I don't, and I think partly because, especially for this year, to the extent that you worry about what it might do to this year's team, I think there's a little bit more certainty there with the addition of Colton Hood. I think that was a really big pickup for Tennessee this offseason. I think he's seen as a really high-level talent that's got a chance to be a really good player, and having another guy like that to as another kind of chess piece to move around. You could play him at the star position if you needed. You could play Jalen McMurray at the star position if needed. I think Tennessee's got a couple other pretty good options there. Caleb Beasley could still be an option there if needed. So I think Tennessee feels it's got some other options internally there if it has to go that route. And so I mean, sure that they'd love to have, you know, more 4- and 5-star prospects coming in at that position, but they've made it work. You know, at the cornerback position, obviously finding Jermod McCoy out of the transfer portal and Ricky Gibson, you know, ended up being a really good pickup. And then, you know, you've gotten some other good players like Caleb Beasley, who's a 4-star coming out of high school and looks like he's got a chance to be a really good one at safety. So you've gotten some pieces there, and now it looks like you've maybe found another good one in Colton Hood. So we'll see how that goes and if he lives up to the expectations. But yeah, internally there's a lot of excitement about him, and I think the bigger complication here is the way, you know, you can tell the way it's being perceived so far. You know, the immediate thing people jump to is something's off at Tennessee, and I don't think it's a totally fair thing to say about the situation because these issues happen, but that's just the reality. People are going to kind of combine this with the Nico situation and make it seem like, you know, Josh Heupel doesn't have control of the program or something like that. I don't think it's a totally fair assessment, but that's the concern here, is the PR hit that you could take and just sort of what it might say to some people, fair or not, about where the program is. These are two of the higher profile players you have on the roster, and you know, if you lose them in a span of you know, less than 4 months, I think there's some people that are concerned about that. And then if you go out and don't have a great season, you know, then kind of where does that leave your fan base? Have you lost some goodwill in the long run if you go 8-4 or something like that? Because I think that's sort of the bigger concern. You know, if I'm Josh Heupel, that's what I'm thinking about. Much less, and also at the same time, you've got to worry about not losing your locker room, because if that's also one of the ways you can derail a season. So I think there are a couple complicated things to really think about. But for me, it's not so much about, you know, can they replace him, because I think they have other options there that are pretty good.
You know, that's interesting. One of the things we were just talking about before you joined was, you know, because there's all sorts of scuttle out there, and you know, it has been at least confirmed in Sparks's article that there might have been some confrontations in the locker room. And I took it from the perspective of that's not necessarily Josh has lost the locker room. It's actually like the team's fighting to maintain the integrity of what's going on in the locker room. Would you agree on that?
Yeah, exactly. And I think I think how that plays into Heupel's decision is if you sweep this under the rug and allow Boo Carter to come back without holding him accountable for what he has done or not done, that's where I think you run the risk of losing the locker room. So I think you've got to hold your ground as a coach and make sure that you're being fair to the rest of the team in how you treat Boo Carter, and at the same time, give yourself the best chance to win games and do what's right for the program. So that it is a trickier thing. These guys get paid big bucks to make decisions just like this one and to handle situations just like this. But it is complicated. But I think that's one of the things like you said, I think it's not a bad thing that you've got players kind of stepping up to say, hey, it's not okay that you're not showing up for workouts or not showing up on time or whatever the issue might be. It's good, I think, that you've got players holding teammates accountable. Where it can be a problem as the head coach is if you don't kind of back that up and do your part in upholding that standard. That's where you can kind of sometimes risk losing locker room. And I don't think that's how Josh Heupel intends to handle it. I'm just saying I think that's one of the things you have to consider is am I willing to flex at all on this and just say, hey, you can come back and be a starter, no problem. Or are there going to be some, if he comes back, or there's some conditions, hey, you've got to apologize to the team. You've got to, you lose your starting job or something like that. What all goes into coming back? Can he just walk right in and things are as good as normal? Everything's back the way it was before, or there's some things that have to be done for him to return.
Darius Gray and Savion Heiter are two big 5-star talents left on the board for Tennessee. With the success of the running back room under Josh Heupel without kind of highly rated guys being in there, do you feel like Tennessee should prioritize building the trenches over a flashy running back, or do you just think at some point big-time playmakers are big-time playmakers and getting a guy like that can turn a great running back room into an elite one with a potentially a 5-star talent like Heiter?
Yeah, I don't think Tennessee would have stayed in that battle and been as heavily involved with Heiter for this long if they didn't feel there's some real value in getting a player like that. Because obviously these days, a guy that's the number one running back in his class, you're not getting a guy like that without a serious commitment in terms of NIL or revenue sharing and without a clear plan to make him a big part of your offense. So I think Tennessee clearly thinks Heiter is a potential difference maker on offense and someone that could really upgrade what you have in the running back room. And I think they've already got some pretty good pieces there, as you alluded to. So yeah, I think it's one of those situations where Tennessee's not always had the opportunity to be in the mix for a running back of his caliber. I think Tennessee would have been willing to be involved in some of those races in the past, but for whatever reason, they just hadn't been in the final 2 or 3 for any of those types of guys in the past few years, and now they are, and so it's a good opportunity for them, and it seems like it's a good time to bring in a back of his caliber if you could get him, and I think Tennessee clearly is felt he's potentially a good fit for the program. He's got the build, got the athleticism to do all the things they want at the running back position, and obviously Michigan feels the same way, and that's why it's been such a tooth and nail battle between Tennessee and Michigan. So yeah, I think it's and also college is kind of different from the NFL. I think that's one thing people maybe mistake sometimes about NIL and about the college game in general. Is just I think a difference maker at the running back position can be a really big deal in college football. So if Savion Heiter is that type of guy, we don't see it as much as we used to 10, 15 years ago. But if you can get a guy that can take over a game at the running back position, it's still a real asset to your offense. And we've even seen the NFL kind of come back toward that direction with, Genty being drafted really early this year. You're seeing some NFL teams prioritize that position even more. And I think in the college game, it's definitely that way. So Tennessee clearly sees the value there. And yeah, I think if you can make it happen, I think that's a worthwhile addition.
We're joined by Ryan Callahan with GoVols 247, handles all the recruiting, does a fantastic job at that. So let's talk about this a little bit. I prefaced it at the beginning of the segment. You've touched on a few of those players right now with Sam, but also before some of the other chaos ensued with the program, we were spending a lot of time on our show and many of the shows around town we're talking about it, felt like we were making some really, really good progress in terms of recruiting, moving up the ladder in terms of the On3 and the Go, and the 247 rankings as far as national recruiting goes. What's your characterization of it? How do you feel that it's going? I mean, do those numbers track with you? And what I mean by that is you've been doing this for a while now. So you've seen other recruiting efforts from Tennessee football. It just felt like this one, to me, is a little different. There's always been kind of a reputational thing. It felt like with Josh, like, great coach, not sure the recruiting is going to be there, but it feels like, to me, it feels like they're stepping up their game. Would you concur, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. I think at least the people I talk to about it a lot, they seem to have the perception that it's, it could be going a little better. But I think the reality is you've got a couple 5-stars in this class, and that gives you a great place to start from. At least in 24/7 Sports ratings, you got a 5-star in Gabriel Osenda, the offensive lineman from Baylor and Chattanooga, and then you've obviously got Faison Brandon, the 5-star quarterback, headlining the class. I don't think this class, at least right now, has quite the depth that last year's class did in terms of 4 and 5 stars. That class, I was just writing about it the other day in regard to the blue chip ratio, where Tennessee, it's kind of a fairly straightforward, almost rudimentary breakdown of your roster and the talent you have. But Tennessee, for the first time since the Philip Fulmer era, has more than 50% of its last 4 recruiting classes have been made up of 4 and 5 stars. That's a pretty big checkpoint to reach in the building of a roster. So it doesn't account for attrition and things like that, but it's still a good indicator that you're recruiting at a pretty high level consistently for a few years. And so this last class they brought in was especially good in that area. 17 of the 25 signees in the 2025 class were 4 and 5 stars in the 24/7 Sports composite. That's pretty good depth. This class, I don't think, is going to quite reach that mark unless something changes, at least based on the way it's shaping up right now. But, again, we're talking about Tennessee still being in the mix for Savion Hyder, for Darius Gray, maybe even for Tristan Keys. That's been a kind of a back and forth battle, some ebbs and flows in that one, but Tennessee's still right in the thick of it. So if you get even one more guy of that caliber, one of those 5 stars, you're talking potentially 3 5-stars in one class. Tennessee hasn't done that type of thing in a long, long time. So even if you don't have as many 4 stars to back it up, having that type of quality at the top would go a long way toward making this a pretty strong class. So I think, and even beyond that, I like some of their evaluations among the 3 stars they've gotten. They've got some nice 4-star players in this class too, just not quite as many as last year to this point. So I think it's another solid class, and we'll see how much better it gets. It's just going to depend on what they add from here. They're still trying to flip guys like Hezekiah Harris, the 4-star edge rusher committed to Auburn, still battling for Joel Wyatt in state. Some other guys like that still hanging out there, where if Tennessee gets the right 2 or 3, high profile pickups from here, it's got a chance to be right there in the mix for a top 10 class. And especially if you had another 5-star, I think that's a real possibility.
So like you said, Tennessee has reached the 50% mark in the blue chip ratio for the first time since 2005. We know that, I guess now you can kind of confidently say that Heupel and his staff are kind of hitting in the evaluation process. But do you think it's fair to say that this year, more than ever in the Heupel era, you're going to kind of figure out maybe a lot more about the development of those players as well, just given the fact that there is going to be some young guys that haven't exactly seen the field going out there and getting a lot of playing time this year that they haven't really seen in years past. Do you feel like this is kind of the true year that you kind of figure out bridging the gap between evaluation and development as well?
Yeah, I think that's a great way to look at it. It's really it's a key year, and year 5 often is for a head coach. We saw year 5 is where Butch Jones kind of had to find his footing and see if he could find that next generation of stars, and that's where that team kind of fell on its face, and he ended up getting fired that year. I certainly don't think that outcome is likely to be on the table at all for Tennessee this year, but that's sort of the challenge you're looking at. And in that case, some of those guys that stepped into bigger roles, especially at the quarterback position, didn't play up to expectations. This year, obviously quarterback's a big deal. They've had to address that in the transfer portal. Clearly the big difference between that 5th year for Butch Jones and now is you do have the transfer portal. You are able to kind of patch up any real holes that you have, just like Tennessee did on the offensive line this year, just like they did with Colton Hood. So that helps, make up for any deficiencies you might have. And I think there is a lot of talent on this team. I think there's that's the thing I think people are missing about Tennessee. I just see some of these preseason projections. I knew the media would have them 8th or 9th in the SEC last week at SEC Media Days. It was 9th. Preseason magazines having them 10th and 11th. I don't see that for this team. I think this is the most talented roster Tennessee's had to date under Josh Heupel. It's just a matter of whether that youth, as you said, can sort of bridge the gap and step into those bigger roles and live up to expectations. Can Mike Matthews and Braylon Staley do what they're expected to do? Can Travis Smith and Rodarius Jackson play well as true freshmen, which they're going to need to do at least off the bench? And then, can they rebuild an offensive line with 4 new starters? There's some unknowns, but talent-wise, I think they're in a lot of ways better than last year. Probably, maybe not significantly, but I think this is probably a more talented team with a higher ceiling. It's just, can they sort of figure out some of the issues that come with inexperience or guys stepping into bigger roles? And that's a big unknown about this team. But if it works out, it could be a better team than people are expecting. And on top of that, they've got a fairly manageable schedule too, that I think it gives them a pretty high floor. Personally, I'd be shocked to see this team win fewer than 8 games.
Jumping over to basketball for just a quick second, because this is kind of in the recruiting realm, but it's a different kind of recruit and it's a transfer. And this one kind of caught everybody off guard a little bit. But if you go back and look at some of the track record with Rick Barnes, it tends to happen in the kind of the off-cycle part of the off-season for basketball. And that was getting another kind of overseas player and talent in Etan Berg. And I got to give you credit for educating me on the proper pronunciation of the first name, because we were all calling him Ethan because that's how it's spelled. But you set me straight when I saw that on TV the other day. And it just came out that they've kind of solidified how many years he'd be available. How do you feel this guy fits in with Rick Barnes' team? We just had Coach on the show last week, and one thing I know about him is he loves having some maturity to blend into the team. And this kid, even though he's new to the program, he's 22 years old and brings some experience. What are your thoughts on, you think he's someone who could make an immediate impact with this team?
Yeah, I think so, and that makes me that makes this a sneaky good addition, in my opinion. Someone that really can, be a factor for this team on some level, and I think that sort of leads to the discussion of just who is going to be most involved on this basketball team. I think Rick Barnes has a lot of good options. You see a few guys on the roster who might be more developmental pieces, but this could be about as deep of a roster as he's had at Tennessee, and that leads to some good problems, some tough decisions maybe about who gets the most minutes and how this is all going to be sorted out. But they obviously could have used a guy with some experience or the ability to contribute immediately. So it makes some sense to get an older guy and someone that you think can step in right away. He seems like a true combo guard, really could play either point guard or off the ball, and pretty good 3-point shooter. I'm not sure he's a guy that projects as a just a star who's going to light it up and drop 20 points all the time. But I think he's someone that can give you another perimeter shooter and someone that could that certainly gives you more depth at the very least at the guard position going into this season. So some people were kind of looking at that extra roster spot available and thinking, this is, why is Rick Barnes leaving this open in some cases? Why? And obviously there was the whole Zakai Ziegler talk that eventually fizzled, but people kind of worried about why you leave that open. I think Rick Barnes does some of his best work in those situations, and in this case, he might have done the same thing with a guy like Etan Berg. We'll see how it works out and what kind of impact he ultimately makes. But this is kind of the same circumstances, at least a little similar to when he found Santiago Vescovi and Tobe Awaka was sort of that type of off the radar addition. So obviously Zakai Ziegler. So he's done some of his best work in these situations. And in this case, going overseas to find a guy with a lot of experience, I think it's a really nice addition. It has the potential to be a steal for Tennessee.
Ryan, did we just find the new Chad Baker-Mazara of the SEC with a 22-year-old that's going to have 3 years of eligibility left?
Yeah, that's we'll see. We'll see if it turns out that well. But either way, it's another good option to have. And like you said, still having 3 years of eligibility for a guy with that age, that's pretty remarkable. I never know the eligibility situation with these guys coming in from overseas that have already been playing professionally and things like that. It's a weird dynamic, but yeah, it's a luxury to have it when you can find that type of guy, and obviously gives them a little bit more of a seasoned option as opposed to having to rely on a true freshman that's maybe not quite ready. That's a much more ideal situation, I would say.
last question for you, and we'll get you out, and certainly appreciate your time, but that's a little tongue-in-cheek, but how excited are you to be? You're going to have to engage in the next great Manning quarterback chase here, and it's going to be in the state with Marshall.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. I mean, there have been some pretty high-profile recruitments. I think we're going to see another one probably over the next year with Cooper Witten out of Texas to have a Tennessee legacy that's currently a 5-star prospect out of the state of Texas, and that Tennessee's heavily involved with already. To have a legacy as the son of a guy like Jason Witten with his reputation at Tennessee and as such a good NFL player. And yeah, that's only going to be ramped up even more, obviously, with Peyton Manning's son. So we'll see. Knowing the way the Manning family has handled the recruiting process in all these cases. I mean, sure, it lines up well for Tennessee, but hey. Peyton Manning's also talked to Kirby Smart and knows him pretty well about wanting him to recruit his son. And the Mannings have been willing to go, just like Peyton did himself, been willing to go against the grain a little bit and not follow in the family footsteps. So that is going to be an interesting recruitment. And now we get to watch it play out in our backyard over the next 4 years or so. It's going to be really interesting. But yeah, that certainly adds a different dynamic. And we've never really seen one of these high profile quarterback battles up close in state. George McIntyre, probably the closest that we've seen to that. And now we're definitely going to see, it's going to be probably a pretty big circus, I would imagine, by the time he's a junior.
Definitely. Hey, listen, man, this was great. Really enjoyed spending some time with you. Appreciate you making time for us. Let the listeners know where they can follow all your work. This guy does as good a job as anybody when it comes to covering all the recruiting stuff.
Well, I appreciate the kind words and be looking for your check in the mail.
Yes,
plenty to check out at GoVols247.com. Lots of coverage leading up to the start of preseason camp. We'll obviously be tracking the Boo Carter story, continue recruiting updates. Got some Tennessee targets still working toward decisions this summer. So lots to check out, and great time to join the site. $1 for the first month to sign up right now. So check that out. We'll have some rankings updates today related to the 24/7 Sports Composite, some changes in that. So yeah, always plenty going on, and certainly now with preseason camp 6 days away at GoVols247.com.
You're the man. Thank you so much, Ryan. It was great talking to you. Hope you have a great rest of the summer, and hope to talk to you again soon somewhere down the line.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks, Ryan.
See you, man. All right, let's hit a break. When we return, got final segment and kind of an interesting one. A ranking of the SEC football schools or football towns. Where's Knoxville rank in those 16 as just a town to go hang? Sure, we got the Vols, but what else? We'll talk about it when we return. Final segment, hour 2. Stick around. It's under review on Fan Run Radio.
For the fans, by the fans. This is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
Hey y'all, Tennessee's Sports Renaissance Man, Chase Thomas here to tell you about my new show right here on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville. It's called The Chase, and it goes live Monday through Friday right here on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville from 1 to 3 o'clock Eastern Time each and every day right here in East Tennessee, where we talk all things Tennessee Vols with a stacked, rotating cast of Tennessee Vols media members. Make sure you check us out right here on Fan Run Radio and Fox Sports Knoxville.
Citizens National Bank.
We make it easy to save money. Get access to thousands of discounts on shopping, dining, and travel with the CNB Plus Perks account. It's a powerful new way to save money with roadside assistance, cell phone protection, identity theft protection, and credit monitoring. Banking at CNB has its perks. Call or stop by a branch for more details.
Citizens National Bank. Banking never felt so good.
Member FDIC.
Running a business, coaching a team, planning your next big event, you need more than just gear. You need SM Athletics and Logo Solutions. Custom uniforms, branded apparel, promotional products, done right, done fast, and built to show off your brand with pride. From local businesses to high schools to major universities, SM Athletics is trusted by winners. Get real service, get real quality, get noticed. SM Athletics and Logo Solutions, where your brand comes to life.
Visit smathletics.com and let's build something great together.
Are you looking for a treat that will knock it out of the park at the next watch party? Just like your favorite baseball team, Crumble brings the best lineup week to week with an expanded roster that includes key lime pie, strawberry cake, or my personal favorite, Monster featuring M&M candies. Let Crumble treat you to the best cookies in the game. Download the Crumble app and start earning rewards. You can even vote monthly on what flavors you would like to see at any store of your choice. Warmer weather is here, so get to the ballpark, but don't miss the cookies.
White Claw is taking hard seltzer to new heights with White Claw Surge. At 8% alcohol, White Claw Surge is a stronger wave of refreshment that doesn't compromise on taste. Available in 4 bold waves of flavor like ripe blackberry, citrusy blood orange, zesty natural lime, and tart cranberry. Check out your favorite retailer in-store and online for the White Claw Surge Variety 12-pack and 16-ounce single-serve cans. White Claw Surge. Please drink responsibly.
Ready to launch your career? Axle Logistics is a leading third-party logistics company where excellence is an energy. With an award-winning culture, Axle proves that positive outcomes come from a positive environment and a work hard, play hard mentality. At Axle, the drive for success is infectious. And with an uncapped commission structure, hard work isn't just noticed, it's rewarded. For those with big goals and even bigger dreams, Axle Logistics is the place to start your career.
Barley's has live music on weekends, general team trivia on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m., and now live sports trivia courtesy of the Knoxville Trivia Guys every Thursday night upstairs. The game starts at 7 p.m. and is free to play for everyone, so head on down to the Old City and show off your sports knowledge and win gift cards to Barley's. Use those gift cards to buy some delicious food and drinks, and you can take it all in with their wide selection of TVs and indoor projectors. Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria.
Welcome back. Final segment. Appreciate Ryan Callahan spending some time with us. That was pretty enlightening. That guy knows his craft, man. He was throwing down on some recruiting stuff. That's a good resource for us as we get into football season and everything else that's coming upon us. And talk some basketball too. He knows the stuff.
Another Ryan.
Yeah, another Ryan.
Another Ryan.
3 of them we talked to.
Yeah,
they're all good though.
Speaking of tomorrow, Ryan Sylvia joining the show. Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah, got a lot of Ryans. Owner of this station, Ryan.
That's true.
It works. So this I found interesting. Saturday Down South always comes up with some interesting little deals, and this one was they decided with the help of Grok to rank all 16 SEC college towns. As they wrote here in their setup, ranking the 16 SEC college towns is tricky because best and worst depends heavily on what you value: size, game day vibe, cultural offerings, affordability, or natural surroundings. So we base this on a mix of factors like livability, student to population ratio, cultural and entertainment options, academic and economic opportunities, and then the intangible college town feel. Sentiment from sources like Saturday Down South, Posts on X, Wallet Hub. So they're doing a balanced take, and really it's not necessarily talking about their football team, but it's more about just the environment, like what's a good hang, what town's really fun to go to. Top of the list. We'll start from the top and work our way down real quick because we have limited time. Number 1, Athens, University of Georgia. Quintessential college town with a vibrant music scene, lively downtown with bars and restaurants, and intense football culture. Sam, have you ever spent any time in Athens?
I have. I went and toured Georgia when I was making college decisions and stuff like that. It is a pretty cool town.
Yeah. Never been. My son has been. My son, who is not the biggest college football fan, was in the house on the Dobnail Boot game. I was like, you lucky SOB, man. That's like, you understand how awesome that is.
Yeah.
And then
it just doesn't really even like register with it,
right,
type of thing.
And then he went to all the parties after the game because part of it was a buddy's brother was at University of Georgia, and that's why he was down there. And it was like my wife was freaking out, going, "What is going to happen tonight?" And I go, "I don't know, but he'll be all right." But yeah, so he endorsed Athens. Number 2, Oxford. Again, another place I haven't been to, but boy, all reports are Oxford's pretty legit when it comes to football season and visiting down there in the Grove and whatnot.
I haven't been, but I'd like to see the Grove. It's kind of split, I think. I think there's a lot of people that are like, the Grove is one of the things that you can't miss. It's one of the great traditions in college sports. And then I think there's some people that are like, this is really overrated.
Yeah, number 3, Austin, University of Texas. Big city with a small college town vibe. Thanks to UT, the other UT's massive presence. Cultural hub with festivals like South by Southwest, booming job market, affordable pizza for students. Affordable housing does not exist down there.
Affordable pizza for students? That's how you know that Grok wrote this one.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, what they don't mention there is, affordability is out of the question if you're looking to relocate there. Incredibly expensive place to live now. Number 4, this one surprised me. Fayetteville. I've been to Fayetteville.
Have you?
Yeah, it's kind of Knoxville-ish, but
Yeah.
I don't. There was nothing that grabbed me. It was not bad, but it was like, seems like, I don't know, kind of high praise. Nestled in the Ozarks, Fayetteville offers natural beauty, hiking trails, and a lively Dixon Street with music venues like George's Majestic Lounge. Ranks high for livability, number 10 in U.S. News as best places to live. I don't know. Kind of surprised to see them that high. Definitely surprised to see this next one this high. Tuscaloosa. Tuscaloosa lives and breathes Alabama football, and that's my point. It's like seems to be like a one-trick pony based on everything I've seen and heard. I don't know.
Yeah, if Alabama wasn't good at football, people just wouldn't care about this town.
Correct. Number 6, Knoxville. Knoxville blends.
Too low.
Yeah, I think so too. Knoxville blends college town charm with a larger city feel, with Neyland Stadium's unique riverfront setting and traditions like the Vol Navy. Its downtown offers decent nightlife. I think that's unfair. I think it's pretty damn strong at this point. Some ex-users rank it higher for its vibrancy, whatever that means. I could see them being number 4 ahead of Fayetteville and Tuscaloosa for sure. Nashville, number 7. Nashville's a major city, not a traditional college town, but Vanderbilt's campus adds a collegiate pocket. Got the music scene, obviously, got the nightlife. A little too overcrowded right now. I know this is your hometown, Sam, but going to Nashville is a little bit more work than it used to be for casuals.
I agree. I think if it's ranking college towns, it's like, I don't know. Vanderbilt doesn't, I don't think they get to just claim like Nashville type of thing. Like Vanderbilt is the least of Nashville people's worries, I feel like, most of the time in terms of entertainment and things around it. Vanderbilt's just lucky that their campus is like a mile away from Broadway and all the fun things in Nashville.
Yeah. And we'll go through the rest of these pretty quickly. Number 8, Baton Rouge. You've been down there, right?
Great place, I will say. I mean, outside of the campus, it's a little rough, but Tiger Town is awesome.
So would you have it a little higher than they've got it here at 8?
I probably would if you're just talking like straight college towns and tailgates and parties and stuff like that.
Yeah. Number 9, Gainesville. This one felt high to me, but I don't know. This is all based on what I've heard. I remember John Reed went down for a game and I talked to him. He was like, I don't think I'll ever go back. Like if you're visiting, it's not a fun place to be.
Never been. It is one that I want to go to. I want to go see Tennessee, Florida in the swamp at some point. So
number 10, Como. Columbia, Missouri, that just by nature alone just feels like it's kind of high, but what do I know? Number 11, Lexington. I'm kind of a Lexington fan. I got to be honest with you. I think there's stuff to do in Lexington. The sports are not great unless you're going up for a basketball game, but I feel there's some Knoxville vibes in Lexington. I love the horse country though too, I got to say. So maybe I'm a little biased.
I like the horse aspect of it too, but
yeah,
the sun never shines in Lexington, Kentucky, Bob. It's gray there 365 days a year.
Not disagreeing with you at all. Number 12, Auburn. Feels to me, again, another town like if you weren't going there for football, I'm not sure what you're checking out. Number 13, College Station. Same. Just getting to College Station is a chore. Number 14, Norman, Oklahoma. About the same as College Station for me. overshadowed by a big city in Oklahoma City next to it. And then number 15, Columbia, South Carolina. I've been there. I actually liked it, but score is pretty low. Bringing up the rear, Stark Vegas. You ever been to Stark Vegas?
I haven't. Don't really know if I'll ever get down there.
No. Kind of the
I would
same.
imagine there's some great food down there, though.
Yeah. They wrote here, though, lastly, as we wrap this up, the Lois Dowdle Cobb Museum and Petty's Barbecue are highlights, but ex-posts and web sources consistently rank it last for its lack of culture and prison-like campus vibe. That is not a good.
tough.
That's a bad look for sure. All right, kind of interesting. Takeaway is I think we should be a little higher, but the top couple, it's tough to argue with. I thought they were pretty fair. All right, that wraps up hour 2 of the show. We're going to take a quick break. When we return, got midday headlines, compliments of Sam, got some listener interaction too that we want to talk about. We'll get to all that when we return. Stick around. It's under review on Fan Run Radio.
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville, and W289CU Knoxville, Fan Run Radio.
Now, it's time for your Atlanta Braves morning update, presented by Tidal Wave Auto Spa. Get clean car happy at any of the 250-plus Tidal Wave Auto Spa locations today.
Braves fall in Game 3 to the Giants. I'm Barrett Salee, and this is your Braves Radio Network morning update.
Get clean car happy all season long at Tidal Wave with exclusive membership discounts, giveaways, and more. Visit TidalWaveAutoSpa.com/Braves for more information.
The Braves fell to the Giants 9-3 on Wednesday afternoon. They dropped to 4-11 in rubber games of series this season. It was a tough day for Spencer Strider. He gave up 3 walks. He gave up 5 hits and 3 earned runs in the loss. He took the loss, and he is 4-8 on the season. Another good day, though, for Drake Baldwin. He got a double, knocked in 2, got the Braves off a scoring drought in the 7th inning.
Line down the left field line. That's in for a base hit, and one hops over the sidewall. That'll be a double for Baldwin. It'll drive in 2 runs, and for the first time since Game 1, the Braves are on the board.
Braves are off today. They'll head to Texas to take on the Rangers starting on Friday night. Joey Wentz getting the ball for the Braves. He is 2-1, has a 5.71 ERA and 36 strikeouts. The veteran going for the Rangers. For leadoff show coming your way, 6:50 Eastern time. First pitch against the Rangers with Ben and Joe, 8:05 Eastern, 7:05 Central on the Braves Radio Network.
Listen up, this is Thomas Miles, nephew Tommy. Okay now, fellas, let's be adults for a minute. Let me ask you something. When the lights go down in the bedroom, are you still clocking in? Or is the equipment on strike? Look, erectile dysfunction is real. It can mess with your mood, your confidence, and don't even talk about the side-eye you get from your lady. But there's good news. Men's Pro Knoxville has licensed medical providers who specialize in turning oh no into let's go. And forget those same old pills. They don't work for everybody. These folks have options most men don't even know exist. Your consultation, just $99. Blood work, consult, and maybe even a test dose if the doc says so. They got an in-house lab, so you'll know where you stand in minutes, not days. So stop stressing. Call 865-544-8220 or hit menspronknoxville.com. Men's Pro Knoxville. Making it happen.
Yeehaw! I've been hooting and hollering ever since I started betting with the VIP Play app. VIP Play has more than 200 leagues, every bet type you can imagine. Live betting and live hosts, all with 24/7 support from real live people when you need them. Start betting better with the VIP Play app today.
Don't be a better, be a better with VIP Play today.
Download VIP Play today or head to VIPPlayApp.com. Make sure you use the promo code FANRUN to take advantage of their welcome bonus and so they know that we sent you. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-8899-789. Must be 21 or older and located in Tennessee to bet.
Hour 3 of Under Review starts now.
Welcome back to the White Claw Hard Seltzer Studios of Fox Sports Knoxville Fan Run Radio. It's Under Review, coming to you live on a Thursday. Bob Baskerville here with Sam Beard, Brett Hollander, Garrett Armbrust as well, helping us out today. Really appreciate you all spending time with us. You can be a part of the program on a live basis. Phone lines are open. Text box is open. You can drop us a line at area code 865-966-3435. That's 966-3435. You can also interact with us on X at Fox Sports Knox. Got some interaction on the text box to go to here shortly. We'll do that after some midday headlines, compliments of Sam. But before we get started, we were just talking about this, about the rankings of SEC college towns, and Auburn way down there, number 12. And we were saying, well, because they're one of those places that if you're not going there for a football game, what are you going there for? So funny. Just this morning, it was announced that Auburn has reached an agreement for a multi-year partnership to bring live music events, live entertainment to Jordan-Hare Stadium. So music concerts, etc. We've done this before at Neyland.
Get in line, Auburn.
Yeah, it's like, who knew? Maybe playing a little catch up at this point.
I mean, it's an easy way to make money.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's like, it's like, thank you. That's breaking news, but maybe that'll move them up to like 11 or 10 on this rankings list. I don't know. All right, let's hit some headlines. Sam, take it away.
A little bit of Tennessee news to start off headlines here, as in the realm of Tennessee baseball here. NC State has landed a commitment from Tennessee transfer Dalton Bargo for the 2026 season. So utility player / 276 batting average, 372 on base percentage, 517 slugging for his career. Had 14 homers, 40 RBIs last season as the Vols cleanup hitter. Up and down season for Dalton Bargo. You had some good flashes at kind of the start of the season. You got into kind of the midst of SEC play, and he hit definitely a bit of a lull and made that DH spot a little bit harder to kind of figure out for Tennessee baseball. So he does not get picked in the MLB draft, and as a result of that, will not be returning to Tennessee. Will be going elsewhere. Finds himself in the ACC, going to NC State. Not a bad landing spot for Dalton Bargo. I'd imagine a guy that will be square in the mix for, being able to be a starter on the team. And, you hope for his sake he can go out there and have a productive season for the Wolf Pack and hopefully find himself getting drafted next year. But Dalton Bargo, no longer with the Tennessee Volunteers, headed to NC State. I know Bob's happy.
Dalton Bargo, thank you for your service. But yeah, it solves some dilemmas, in my opinion, if he were to somehow choose to come back here.
Yeah.
I think this will be fine. And hopefully, I wish him well at NC State. I do.
Do you, Bob?
I love his bat. I mean, although he couldn't postseason, he went ice cold. But I mean, the bat was valuable most of the season. It was the left field Dalton Bargo that I had a problem with. I didn't even have a problem with him at third base. It was just, and maybe that's not his fault. That's more on Tony. It's like I just felt he was a liability out there, a massive one. Who couldn't see that?
Some more Tennessee baseball news. The Houston Astros have found a way to ink a deal with DJ Newman. So he will not be getting to campus for Tennessee. I know we were curious about this one yesterday, but despite getting picked in the 15th round, the Astros find a way to get him into their organization instead of spending a year with Tennessee. He was one of only 3 players in the 2025 MLB draft who were officially listed as two-way players. So definitely a unique guy. Over 3 seasons with Bowling Green, hit 388, 20 doubles, 15 homers, 3.6 ERA with 91 strikeouts and 85 innings on the mound. Was one of the best freshmen in the country in 2023, and then battled injuries kind of in 2024. So we'll be going professional. We'll not be getting to campus. Definitely, not like a panic. Oh no, you can't get DJ Newman onto campus for Tennessee, but definitely a guy that you definitely were thinking could have brought some value to next year's team, and especially being a two-way guy, you figured you could have found a spot for him in one way or another. So DJ Newman not going to be getting to campus for Tennessee, and Tony Vitello, wish him the best in his professional career.
Boo.
Yeah.
I wanted him, but
you scared me last night, Bob, when you said that too. Like you can't be. Brett sent in the link of the DJ Newman use, and then you just go boo in all caps. And I hadn't looked at what Brett sent at the start. I just saw your text, and I go, uh-oh, is there some news about Boo Carter? And it's like, it's DJ Newman.
I didn't think about that angle.
I didn't think about it at all.
In the last couple of days, I can't be getting just an all caps boo.
No, that's a trigger. I get it. That's my bad. I didn't even.
I looked at it and I was like, oh God, what happened to Boo Carter? Did we make a decision on whether or not he's playing football for us or what? Tough training camp news, but this is officially
Sam, real quick, just to keep on your baseball thing. I sent you another baseball update on Tennessee baseball. Do you want me to
hit it?
Go, Reese Chapman is coming back to Tennessee.
Gotcha.
Sorry, I didn't want to cut.
No,
while we're on the topic, I just didn't know if
absolutely.
he sent it. So no Bargo, but Chapman.
Yay! I'm actually okay with Reese coming back.
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting player to come back. 273 last year, 13 homers, 53 RBIs. I still think some of the strikeout issues were a little bit of a problem for him, but a guy that defensively made some really great plays for you out there in right field. And I don't know, I think you talk about some of the overhaul on Tennessee's roster this year and some new faces, being able to get a guy like Reese Chapman, a veteran of this program who kind of knows what's asked of you and can kind of maybe be a leadership guy that kind of takes on that role. It can't hurt. And, some more depth in that outfield as well. So potentially a guy that could be a starter in right field for you or, elsewhere on the field, who knows, but Reese Chapman coming back, that is a good veteran addition. I think
it's a really good point that I had, we talked and emphasized so much about we sometimes felt like maybe we didn't have that in the locker room this year. And it sure feels like now you look at so many new guys, talented guys, et cetera. It's like Chapman coming back for that alone is a big development,
I'd say. Yeah, absolutely. And it's just, competition. You had some good guys that you felt like could, play outfield and, maybe even like a guy like Henry Ford. To me, that's something that comes to mind where he was kind of listed as a guy that, hey, you can play first base, he can play outfield. Now, when you have Reese Chapman coming back and maybe a little bit of uncertainty at that first base spot with Andrew Fisher leaving, does this allow Levi Clark to play a little bit more catcher or something like that? Or does he just slide in as your DH? I think it gives you a little bit more positional flexibility with this roster to have Chapman back. So, yeah, it's a good one, Brett. Way to catch that. NFL news, first big injury of training camp as Jets quarterback Justin Fields suffered a right toe injury, according to Aaron Glenn. Based on the first couple things that came out from this morning, it honestly sounded much more severe than it kind of seems right now. They're still waiting to kind of see what the severity of that injury is, but they said there is no fracture, and he's still undergoing tests. Suffered a dislocated toe after getting stepped on in Jets practice. So the initial report was like he's getting carted off the field and they have, the medical staff coming to evaluate him and nobody could really get a good look on it. I think, when this story first kind of broke, a lot of people are thinking, oh no, is this another season-ending injury for a Jets quarterback? But as some things are coming out, dislocated toe, I would imagine you still see Justin Fields, becoming that starting quarterback for the Jets at some point this year, but wouldn't be surprised if maybe he's shut down for the rest of training camp and maybe a little bit into the season as well. I'm really interested in the Jets this year and just what Aaron Glenn can do in terms of kind of turning those guys around.
Yeah, I'm still kind of a Justin Fields fan. I know there's some, there's some issues here and there with him, but I'd love to see. I'm excited to see the prospect of him and Garrett Wilson team up.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think though, like new system, obviously new coaching staff, you'd like for your new quarterback as well to maybe get a lot of those reps throughout training camp. Right. But now that's probably not exactly going to be something that can happen. So yeah, a little bit of a learning curve probably to start the season for that Jets Jets team offensively. Tough news in college basketball. USC 5-star recruit Elijah Arenas suffered a torn meniscus, putting his 2025 and 26 college basketball season in jeopardy, according to Chris Haynes. He's expected to be sidelined for at least 6 to 8 months. So tough news for Elijah Arenas, and feels like the kid just can't really catch a break. Had that tragic car accident that, had his life really on the line for a little bit there. And it turns out that he's, being able to recover from that and should be able to make a full recovery. And then now gets back into basketball activities and suffers a torn meniscus, probably taking him out of this year. Very talented guy. Like I said, 5-star recruit, somebody that USC and Eric Musselman was very excited for. You hate to see, one of these top freshman talents in the league or in the country, I guess, not being able to make it onto the court even before the season starts. And I think I find it cool that Gilbert Arenas was coached by Musselman, and then now he's got his son coaching him at the college level. I think that's pretty crazy.
Hadn't thought of that. Yeah, that's a good one.
SEC football news. Missouri standing on business. Eli Drinkwitz getting himself a extension, now entering his 6th season at Missouri, 2023 SEC Coach of the Year. Led the team to back-to-back double-digit win seasons for the first time in a decade and just the 3rd time in program history. He gets awarded with a contract extension. That one will keep him with Missouri through the 2029 season. So Missouri still investing in their guy. Dorkwitz to many other people in the SEC, but people around Missouri seem to love him. I also saw this clip from Media Days going out of SEC coaches of if you had one call to make to save your life or something like that, who would it be? And it was almost split down the middle between Kirby Smart and Eli Drinkwitz. So it seems like he's well liked amongst SEC coaches, which was kind of surprising to me when I was watching that clip come out.
Definitely surprises me. You know how I feel about Drink. Not a fan.
No,
not a fan. But, I saw some graph that talked about, coaches in terms of their hot seat level in the SEC. And we've talked about this. We know some of the ones who are on the hot seat, but they talked about a few who were untouchable. And they had Kirby Smart and Sark, and they had Drinkwitz there. And so this extension, I guess, kind of reaffirms that, right? It's I
think Missouri's one of those jobs that it's kind of Mark Stoops almost at Kentucky, you get further than 8 wins almost over there, and you're buying yourself a lot of time. So I feel like back-to-back 10-win seasons for as, maybe corny of a guy as he is, he is a good football coach and a guy that has put a winning product out onto the field for Missouri. So I think that's a school that's just hey man, if you're going to give us 10-win seasons, I don't really care what you're doing off the field or what you're saying to the media and stuff like that. You can coach our guys up pretty well.
Well-known proponent of the 30-team playoff field.
Yes. Did I mention this yesterday? The red zone stuff.
A little bit. We're actually. I think
you're saving that.
Well, it's going to be a bigger topic. You can bring that up. I think that. I mean, I'm going to talk a little bit later about what it means. But yeah,
ESPN reportedly nearing a deal to acquire NFL Red Zone from the NFL Network. The deal is rumored to be worth over $2 billion, which is insane, but honestly makes sense for how much people watch Red Zone during the season. What I'm just scared of, Bob, is having Pat McAfee on Red Zone somehow.
Gotta hope
screaming into my TV.
No. I mean, the deal includes NFL Network, NFL Media. There's a lot. That's why I'm saying it's kind of an existential move by ESPN. So that's why I want to give it a little time a little later. But yeah, it's a big one, man. I talked about it on Russell's show yesterday. He asked the question. It's man, Red Zone for me is I said it's a sleeping giant, and Bear was like, well, no, it's already huge. It is, but my point is it can even be bigger. Yeah, it really can be. I mean, it's that's the only thing I pay attention to on Sundays now, unless there's one game I want to check out, my team maybe, but that's it. I used to have the NFL ticket and try to watch all the games. It's screw that. Just give me Red Zone.
So what would happen to Scott Hansen? Because he's been over there. I mean, does he come with them to ESPN, or does he just?
And he's got a big contract. He just re-upped with NFL Media for Red Zone, so they got to pay him. They might as well have him. He's the best at it.
Right.
So yeah, I think he'll be there.
Good deal. Good deal. NBA on NBC has revealed their complete lineup for broadcasting for the 25 and 26 season. Going through this one quickly. Play-by-play guys finalized. Mike Tirico, Noah Eagle, Terry Gannon, and Michael Grady. Game analysts will be Reggie Miller, Jamal Crawford, Grant Hill, Derek Fisher. That one been announced? I feel like that I haven't really seen that one.
I've not heard that. No.
Brad Doherty, Brian Scalabrine, Austin Rivers, and Robbie Hummel. Studio hosts, Maria Taylor, Ahmad Fareed. Studio analysts will be Carmelo Anthony and Vince Carter, and then Michael Jordan landing the big fish as the, quote, special contributor. So he'll be out playing a lot of golf and gambling, and will only come in for a few games.
That's it. Calling from his yacht.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I'm out in a marlin fishing tournament, but what are your thoughts on the Rockets right now, Mike?
I just saw Scalabrine. I was, God, just shows you what
You
kind
just
of
saw Brian Scalabrine? Are you friends with Brian?
No, on TV. No, I was just going to say, it just kind of underscores the state we're in with sports right now at this time of year. I was watching Big Three over the weekend.
Nice,
and,
nice.
He was doing color commentary.
I will say the Big Three is kind of entertaining.
I like it.
It's kind of good.
I because these guys are still good, man. Dwight Howard is like a monster in the Big Three.
I didn't know he's playing.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Beasley.
Yeah,
Beasley.
Beasley.
I have seen him.
He's unreal.
He's played for a few years now, right?
Yeah, he's
not even fair.
He's the reigning MVP. He was like built for the Big
Yeah.
Three. I mean, this is like a godsend for him, man, because he's such an amazing like street ball player.
Yeah, but he's on the team with like Lance Stevenson. I can't imagine.
Oh
Like,
God, Lance is great.
Can't imagine playing that team.
Yeah, no, it's fun actually. It's kind of entertaining. We'll start doing Big Three updates. Sam.
Yeah. I'll start including that in headlines. Don't worry, guys. Fun last story here. The Rockies shut out the Cardinals to snap a record 220 game streak. They had gone 220 games without a team shutout, the third longest streak all time. They had a ways to get to the other two, but some 1800s baseball that they would have been putting themselves in the company with. From 1893 to 96, the Washington Senators went 383 games without a team shutout. In 1897 to 1899, the St. Louis Browns / the Perfectos. I didn't know about the Perfectos. That's an awesome name. They went 298 games. So the Rockies still had like 80 games to go to if they wanted to get into real history mode, but good for them. Last shutout had been, their previous one was a 2-0 win over the A's on July 30th of 2023.
Wow. Yeah, that's a bad team. That's all there is to it. You can't.
They've won consecutive series for the first time this season.
Yeah. Okay.
Interim manager maybe doing a little bit of good things.
Maybe.
That's about it for me, though. I thought that was a funny record that gets snapped.
Before we jump to the phone lines, we do have one. He cut?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we do have one sad bit of news, right? Sam, you hit me with it going into the last break.
Yeah, I guess we'll pander to the wrestling crowd. Hulk Hogan has passed away at the age of 71 after suffering cardiac arrest Thursday morning. I go break the news to John Reed, our wrestling guy out here. And he's like, I don't care about Hulk Hogan. He's a bad guy.
Yeah, he's
Falls Tim 85 though is definitely torn up.
He's
That's his guy.
I knew Reed
Crying on the beach.
He never liked Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what, baby. He's gone.
Yeah.
71's kind of young.
I know.
Kind of honest, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Oh, well, rest in peace. Rest in peace. All right, we're going to take a break. When we return, we're going to talk a little bit more about, we'll get some interaction, what we saw on text box. Might have a phone call as well. We'll hit it when we return. Stick around. It's under review on Fan Run Radio.
Take Fan Run Radio with you on the all-new Fan Run app. Just search for Fan Run Radio wherever you download your apps.
Believe in family. Believe in your fellow man. Believe believe in honesty and an honest day's work. We do. We're Farm Bureau Insurance. And we don't just believe in Tennessee. We believe in Tennesseans. Farm Bureau Insurance, Tennessee's insurance company.
This is Baseball BFL Cody Brown. Farm Bureau Insurance is the official insurance for Tennesseans. Believe in me for all of your insurance needs. Give me a call at 865-992-3871.
Are you looking for a treat that will knock it out of the park at the next watch party? Just like your favorite baseball team, Crumble brings the best lineup week to week with an expanded roster that includes key lime pie, strawberry cake, or my personal favorite, Monster featuring M&M candies. Let Crumble treat you to the best cookies in the game. Download the Crumble app and start earning rewards. You can even vote monthly on what flavors you would like to see at any store of your choice. Warmer weather is here, so get to the ballpark, but don't miss the cookies.
Hey, Pack Rat. Yeah, you. Are you moving cross country and you just don't know who to call? Call us right now. Listen, you've probably seen one of our containers in your neighborhood, but did you know that we can help you move anywhere in the United States? It's real simple. We'll drop a container off at the location you tell us to bring it to. You pack up your valuable possessions at your leisure. They stay safe right in your home. And when you're ready, call us. We'll come and pick up the container and give you a scheduled date of when your furniture and the other possessions will be at your new home. So if you're moving across country or across town, be a Pack Rat. Join the Pack Rat family. Call Pack Rat right now for your free quote. See y'all later, Pack Rats.
Call 800-965-1298. 800-965-1298. 800-965-1298. That's 800-965-1298.
Are you ready to show off that confident, radiant smile you've always dreamed of? Well, here at Knoxville Smiles, we're ready to turn your dream into a reality. At Knoxville Smiles, we're more than just a dental practice. We're your partners in achieving optimum oral health. From routine cleanings and checkups to advanced cosmetics and restorative procedures, we offer a wide range of services in an environment that makes every visit a positive and comfortable experience. At Knoxville Smiles, it's about more than just treatments. We're focused on creating a welcoming environment where you feel like family. Our state-of-the-art facilities are designed with your comfort in mind, and our friendly staff is always ready to address your questions and concerns. Don't wait any longer to achieve a beautiful smile you deserve. Schedule your appointment at Knoxville Smiles today and take that first step towards a healthier, happier you. Call us at 865-539-1776 to book your appointment today, or just visit our website at knoxvillesmiles.com.
Welcome back. Let's jump over to the phone lines. Got Matthew waiting to weigh in on something I'm sure we've been talking about. Looking forward to hearing from him. Matthew, how you been?
How we doing, fellas? Forgive me, Bob. I'm sorry. I know this is a Tennessee radio show, but I do actually want to talk a little bit Colts with you. So here's my thought on this, and I'll let Sam answer and make fun of us. But I'm of the belief that if we are both on the same page and we want Ballard out, then you and I have to be cheering for Anthony Richardson to win the starting job. Because if Daniel Jones hasn't even a lick of success, and let's say we start off 4-1 or 3-2, he's able to buy in and say, "Hey, I found you a guy. I just need to, now that we have the quarterback, we have to put the pieces together around the defense." So my thoughts are, we're in this weird position at the quarterback position where you've got a guy that's pretty much a backup quarterback, and that's Daniel Jones. And you've got a guy that's clearly not proven it and is probably a bust. And so my question to you is, with how poor the quarterbacks are going to be coming out of college next year, and Cade Klubnik and Carson Beck, do you even want either of these guys to even have a lick of success? Or do you want to have like an 8-9 or 9-8 season and bridge that, and then tank it in and get rid of Ballard the following season for Arch? And I'll end up with that thought. Take care, boys.
Thanks, Matthew. Hey, by the way, Anthony Richardson has lost weight. He's shown up lighter, 240 pounds, cut his hair.
What was he at last year? If he's at 240 now,
he was probably
like 260.
I'd say 250, 255.
Okay.
So I mean,
I did see the haircut.
Yeah. And he said, he was like, I'm here to compete. I need to compete. I mean, he's not moping,
I mean, I don't think Anthony Richardson's going to be the guy, but to be honest with you, I am kind of rooting for him to go have that starting job just because I just kind of want the AFC South to be like the division of young quarterbacks. Like, I don't think there's, off the top of my head, I can't exactly think of just a division that has 4 guys that are just all, under what? I mean, Trevor Lawrence is probably the oldest quarterback in the division at this point.
Right.
And he's 25 years old. Like, I think just having a 4 teams that just have quarterbacks that, they view as potential guys that can be franchise guys for a long time and being super young. That's just kind of a fun storyline for me to monitor. But
yeah,
I don't know. We'll see who comes out of that camp battle. I don't think, I get the point that Matthew's trying to make. Is like, if you do feel like Ballard is kind of the reason why the Colts have taken a step back, you'd like to see the guy that he went out and drafted and Anthony Richardson just kind of crash and burn so that the ownership can kind of say, all right, quarterback that you picked this high didn't work out. You're going to be on the hook for that mistake. So we're going to go and kind of cut bait with both of y'all.
Yeah. Or maybe Daniel Jones could crash and burn. I mean, I get what he's saying is in the off chance Jones comes out and shows out.
Yeah.
Because he has done it before. That would be a problem. I just wish, and you as a football fan can remember this, because I was skeptical of the Anthony Richardson pick when they took him. But then the first couple of games in his rookie season, I mean, I was like, okay, he looked all right. His biggest issue at that time was he didn't understand like how to slide and do all that kind of stuff. But I mean, he was showing like, okay, he can make things happen. I was like, I'm bought in now. I got sucked in, and then he turned out to be awful.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I do feel like some of it is just you kind of gotta take the lumps with, maybe some of his age being a factor, a guy that really doesn't have any starts under his belt in college as well as the league, the injuries a factor as well. I just feel like the layering of the football with him in the pass game is just such a problem. Like he's kind of got the Joe Milton aspect to him where it's just like he throws the ball at one speed kind of. Yeah. And it's like, it's great on the deep balls that he can connect that are 80-yard bombs in the air. And when you get a couple of those a game, it's like, holy crap, look what we've got here. But then when you need to kind of complete the easy 5 to 10-yard pass just to move the sticks, it's like, why are we throwing a 95-mile-an-hour fastball over the guy's head? Like, let's put it on target and let's get it to a point where our receiver can catch it.
Look, I want it to work out for him. There's a lot of things he's done like in the community. We've seen it.
He seems like a good guy.
Yeah, like the videos where he shows up in kids' neighborhoods and just starts like throwing around with them and stuff. All these, it's like that's awesome. But he's got to show it on the field. I just don't know if he's got it in him. Time will tell. All right, we got a little bit of feedback from our listeners on the text box. Felt these were worth talking about. I think they're both tied into the Boo Carter situation. And this one, this guy prefaces it. I appreciate that. He doesn't go by name, but he says, I'm a Florida fan here, and I'm curious what you all think is the best way to balance the culture aspect with results, which is kind of the topic we've talked about.
We got Florida fans listening to us?
Yeah, apparently, right?
All right.
That's cool. That's what's happened here.
How do you balance the culture aspect of things with talent? Is that what he said?
Yeah, culture aspect with results. And then he wrote, Billy Napier has created a great culture and by all accounts, a wonderful atmosphere around the program, and it's gotten him a longer leash with his record, but the results haven't followed, at least not to fan expectations. And he may never get there. So how does a fan in 2025 properly weigh what we want from our program? Quiet off seasons with lots of high character players or championship results in the fall? Can you have both?
I think it's a great question. I don't know if you can have both. I think you look at Georgia and they sweep a lot of off the field issues under the rug to kind of sacrifice that is like, hey, we know these guys are going to be elite on the field though. And we feel like we've got guys that can turn it on and won't let their off the field issues bleed over into what they do on the field. And I guess maybe some of that is a credit to Kirby Smart for just being that good of a coach and that good of kind of like a field general. And when you get into the facility, when you're on the field, you're doing as I say, and you're, upholding to my standards of what I think a football program is. But it does kind of feel like once those guys get out of the facility and they don't have to be in practice or in a meeting, you see that, they kind of run wild and they can kind of just do a little bit of whatever they want. Personally, I don't love to see that. Like I'm shocked by how many, driving incidents have happened with this Georgia football team that I know that it's already resulted in a death of somebody, but that there hasn't already been another one. And so like, to me, that stuff is just concerning in terms of just character aspects of it. And I think that's something that, we obviously don't love to give Nick Saban his flowers as Tennessee fans. And if, this guy is a Florida fan, he obviously doesn't like Nick Saban either. But to me, that was like the biggest thing that Nick Saban was able to do was take guys with 5-star talent that I'm sure had some off the field issues at times and did a great job of turning those guys into like really solid young men and guys that can have a professional future in the league or can at least just be, professionals in the real world after their football days come to an end. And he did a great job of kind of balancing those two. I think it's a lot harder in the NIL era though. Like I think the money is just a huge factor with it. And guys kind of maybe get a little bit of a idea in their mind of like, hey man, I'm an 18-year-old making millions of dollars. Nobody can tell me what to do.
Yeah, I think that's part of the problem, right? Is, people were asking, going back to Boo Carter, like apparently he was in California. It's like, well, why is he in California? And people are quick to draw conclusions. Oh, he's hooking up with Nico. And there's a good chance. Think about the money he's got at his age. That's like, think if you had that money at your age, what are you going to do? You're going to go do stuff. And my point is, you talk about, how can you balance it? Some of these guys, they're kids, man, and they're going to be enamored by the money. I mean, I see it with my teenage daughter, and she's just making, $10 an hour, and she's like, I got to put in the time. I need the money. It's like, what do you need the money for? It's like, it's just you get to a point at a certain age where you're like, okay, it's time, man. I got to go start earning something. I get it.
You're like 19 years old and you've got like $1 million sitting in your bank account and you're probably waking up in the morning and you're going, man, this team meeting at 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. doesn't sound all that attractive. I'm rich right now. Who cares?
That's it. You have totally bypassed the whole stage of your life where you start to understand, like, again, my daughter's making $10 an hour and she's like, God, this is awesome. I'm rich. And it's like, not really, but yeah, so these guys, they think they are filthy rich.
They don't have a carrot to chase anymore,
Exactly.
of. They've got it all up front. It's like, all right, well, why do I have to go put in the work now?
No, I totally agree with that. Another listener checked in, and it's funny, very much on the topic you just said, Sam, as a matter of fact. They write, how does Georgia continue to figure this stuff out and keep guys on the field when they do things 100 times worse than anything we're talking about at Tennessee?
Really good lawyers.
Yeah, no kidding. And then the person follows up and says, why do I care about Tennessee football when it seems like winning isn't a priority? It's kind of the point of the question. Winning is a priority, but I think Heupel's choosing to do it a little differently. Kirby, we've talked about it on our show. We're stunned by how like elite Kirby is as a coach and how much he knows ball and how smart he is. It maddens the hell out of me, but he's as good as it gets. But as far as managing that program, there's like a blind spot or something, man. I don't know.
There's different ways to do it. Like, yeah. I brought up Ohio State the other day in terms of a program that you don't feel like has a whole lot of outside issues that happen. And like, I don't want to make it sound like Georgia's football team that, there's not guys out there that don't have, they're not strong in their faith or anything like that. But you saw Ohio State's team last year and how kind of outward they were with their faith. And a lot of those guys that were like really strong leaders on that team were like really harping on like their Christian beliefs and stuff like that. And you saw how big of an impact that had on their entire roster. And that was a team that went and spent, $30 million or whatever it was in the portal and went and won a national championship. And so like, I think you can have high character guys and also have high level play on the field. It's just, you gotta get to a point where you're able to do that. And, Ohio State was probably at a little bit of an easier road when Ryan Day took over that program, with it just being as healthy as it was. And now Tennessee kind of having to redo that foundation. And I think that's why Josh Heupel deserves so much credit, is he took over a program that was really kind of nothing when he got here. And even though it is year 5, I think that's just what it takes to build a program from the ground up, especially when you're playing in a league like the SEC where it's just so hard.
Well, and that's the other thing. I was talking about this with Russell yesterday on his show I know it's not apples to apples. We've talked about this, the difference between football and basketball, but we talked about it on our show earlier in the week about, how's this stuff apparently not happening with the basketball team and Rick Barnes? It's less players, first of all.
Yeah.
It's a game of numbers, and in football, you have so many players you got to get, that just elevates the odds of getting some bad actors in there, right? So that happens. But I remember when I told that whole story a while back when Barnes came strolling through the neighborhood and stopped by and said, "We're getting Nate Ament," and then was just getting out there, and I was like, "That's awesome. What about Rodney Rice?" was my question. Because if you recall, Rice was in the mix right then. Yeah. Barnes immediately fired back. It's not happening. He wants too much money. He's a good player. He's not that good. We just cannot do that. And so he kind of heads it off at the pass. In football, you probably can't do that. It's probably not so easy. But my point is like, sometimes you see this coming, right? You see this coming with some of these players. You'd be a fool if you didn't. And so that's the part, I guess, is the ongoing struggle for a Josh Heupel. Kirby Smart, one way or another, has figured out how to make it work for him and his situation. I feel like Josh, it's still a work in progress, right? I don't know the way he's handling it's right or wrong, quite honestly.
How much outside noise do you think Kirby and Georgia get for all this stuff? Like, I feel like fans influence a lot of what we're seeing. I mean, we're here, we hear it, we see it, we work in that kind of thing, but winning
helps a lot.
Well, and that's why
I don't know. Like, after having 3 losses last year, the unknown kind of this year.
Well, to the listener's point who said this, it doesn't seem like winning is a priority here. You're right. Down in Georgia, the heat's probably less intense because they've won back-to-back national titles at one point. And you're right. They had 3 losses last year, but they're still, preseason. They're top 1 or 2 in the country, depending on where you look.
He's claimed to put in NIL fines and implementing defensive driving courses, but something's not. I don't know. Maybe that's part of it. Just the fans. I mean, I don't know.
We've said it before. It drives us nuts as fans. I just can't even. I do feel for Josh Heupel. This has got to be an incredibly hard job, just being the coach and CEO of the program to begin with. But now the influx of this kind of activity and behavior just constantly coming. I don't know what's worse. I mean, I hate to say it. I don't want to have a bunch of thugs and criminals on the team. To me, that would be easier to police just because they're breaking the law, man. I mean, that's different. This is more like, this is an integrity issue. And so the question becomes, and it's kind of what Ryan Callahan said earlier, you're going to maintain the integrity of your locker room and not lose it. So you're not like up on a podium like Mike Locksley was for Maryland the other day saying, I lost my locker room and I'm working to get it back.
We've clearly seen that Heupel is prioritizing culture in his program.
Yes.
He's not, Kirby has, to his credit, has found a way to put an elite product out on the field, but has kind of, I think, resided to the fact of, all right, whatever happens off the field happens. And I don't think Josh Heupel's wired that way. He doesn't want to run his program just with the guys in his building only being under his control whenever they're there, and then having to worry about them running wild whenever they're off the field. I think and I don't think Josh Heupel's alone in that too. I think there's plenty of other high-profile coaches and good programs that are trying to go out there and win at a very high level that also want to be able to keep their culture intact in their locker room, both on and off the field. And I think it comes with some of these growing pains like this, and it's just a little bit, it's a little bit harder. I think this would be an issue that Georgia just doesn't really get addressed and says, hey, as long as you're showing up on Saturdays and playing well, you do whatever you want to do off the field.
Yeah,
it's just not how Heupel's wired.
And this listener posed the question, why isn't winning a priority? I think winning's a priority. There's no doubt. I get his question, though. He's kind of saying, winning big, winning a national title. We just haven't gotten there yet. Doesn't mean it couldn't happen. I mean, it felt like a couple of years ago we could have been playing for one. Just a couple things got sideways for us. Last year, we learned that in an expanded field, we got some work to do. And so hopefully we make some of those progressions this year. We're doing it with a different kind of vibe, a different quarterback, and perhaps another really high-level player not being around. Time will tell here in the next couple of days.
And unfortunately, Cars are probably second on the list behind the money. You want money, but then I bet Cars these kids want, right off the bat.
No doubt. All right, let's hit our final break. When we return, we will wrap the show up. We're going to talk a little bit about this ESPN NFL deal because it is pretty fascinating when you look at it. It's kind of a sign of the times. We'll get to it on the other side. Stick around. It's under review on Fan Run Radio.
You're listening to Fan Run Radio, the sports humans.
Running a business, coaching a team, planning your next big event, you need more than just gear. You need SM Athletics and Logo Solutions. Custom uniforms, branded apparel, promotional products, done right, done fast, and built to show off your brand with pride. From local businesses to high schools to major universities, SM Athletics is trusted by winners. Get real service, get real quality, get noticed. SM Athletics and Logo Solutions, where your brand comes to life.
Visit smathletics.com and let's build something great together.
Are you looking for a treat that will knock it out of the park at the next watch party? Just like your favorite baseball team, Crumble brings the best lineup week to week with an expanded roster that includes key lime pie, strawberry cake, or my personal favorite, Monster featuring M&M candies. Let Crumble treat you to the best cookies in the game. Download the Crumble app and start earning rewards. You can even vote monthly on what flavors you would like to see at any store of your choice. Warmer weather is here, so get to the ballpark, but don't miss the cookies.
Citizens National Bank.
We make it easy to save money. Get access to thousands of discounts on shopping, dining, and travel with the CNB Plus Perks account. It's a powerful new way to save money with roadside assistance, cell phone protection, identity theft protection, and credit monitoring. Banking at CNB has its perks. Call or stop by a branch for more details.
Citizens National Bank. Banking never felt so good.
Member FDIC.
Ready to launch your career? Axle Logistics is a leading third-party logistics company where excellence is an energy. With an award-winning culture, Axle proves that positive outcomes come from a positive environment and a work hard, play hard mentality. At Axle, the drive for success is infectious. And with an uncapped commission structure, hard work isn't just noticed, it's rewarded. For those with big goals and even bigger dreams, Axle Logistics is the place to start your career.
Final segment today, talking about the shifting sands that continue to shift on sports media alliances. And this one's a big one. Sam touched on it in headlines a little bit. ESPN and the NFL, they are closing in on what could be what you would call a next era defining deal. And what we mean by that, there's an article in The Athletic that came out from Andrew Marchand, who does a fantastic job covering all this big media dealing material because there's a lot of it these days. This goes all the way back in the 80s when ESPN was only in 40 million cable homes, and they acquired the rights to 8 NFL regular season games on Sunday night and also the Pro Bowl. That was pretty incredibly consequential for them because they were trying to put themselves on the map besides being just Sports Center and Big East basketball, because that's really all they were in the 80s. They only paid $51 million per season to the NFL for that 3-year deal. So you fast forward to today, and ESPN and the NFL are closing in on a deal that would be relatively groundbreaking for much higher stakes. ESPN would acquire NFL Media, and NFL Media, they actually focus on content tied to the NFL. They own and operate the NFL Network. They also own and operate NFL Red Zone. This thing is incredibly important. And the reason I bring this up, we talked a little bit about this yesterday in another kind of paradigm, and that is all these media deals that are happening, live sporting events, and particularly the NFL. There's no brand bigger than the NFL. The Shield rules. The big streamers who have apparently endless amounts of money, Netflix, Apple TV, Prime Video, they are starting to, well, with Netflix and Prime, Sam, they are pursuing the NFL. They have Thursday Night Football on Prime Video. The NFL had the Christmas Day games last season. YouTube is going to have a game, that Friday night game in the opening weekend of the NFL. All the streamers are going just full steam ahead. There's rumors Apple TV Plus is coming too. And they're going to want to kind of cherry pick what the NFL will offer them. And that's like the big matchups, the headline matchups, some of the big tentpole events like Christmas Day, maybe even Thanksgiving Day, those types of things. ESPN is doing this because they're getting ready to launch their streaming product and they need more. They're going to be charging $30 a month. They have to offer more. Now, the question becomes, will NFL Red Zone, which right now is an upcharge for anybody who's trying to get it on YouTube TV or elsewhere, will that be included in that ESPN package? That'll be the interesting telling point. But I think what ESPN's doing is they're trying to kind of, build a moat around their entity to make sure that they've got as much NFL content as possible, because they're not going to be capable to compete against these big time streamers on some of the other stuff. The NFL Network also includes like an 8-game package of Thursday Night Football as well, or weekend football.
Mm-hmm.
I take that back. It's like Saturday football. So I think this is a pretty interesting move. The price tag I haven't seen yet, but it's going to be massive. It's going to be massive. And it's just ESPN.
That tweet that I said $2 billion.
$2 billion?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not surprised. I mean, so there's going to be some critics who are going to say ESPN's got to get in bed deeper with the NFL. I think they do. They don't have much of a choice. This is, as I said earlier, this is not just a kind of a clever or smart strategic move. This is like existential. This is them looking ahead 5 years down the line. I actually think it's pretty smart.
So you think the red zone stuff is just kind of only the first step here? They're not just trying to get in the boat of like, hey, I need to get a piece of the pie with the NFL. It's just, hey, I'm going to get red zone to start off, and that's going to be kind of the launch point for us to hopefully get some more access to stuff around the league.
I think that's it.
Okay.
I think that's it. And again, they, at least at a minimum, if they start getting outbidded for some games, part of this deal is, okay, we've got 8 games at least. We've got those, because they're still going to be battling with the other networks,
yeah,
right? You're going to be battling
Fox
with
and CBS
and
all those guys,
NBC and Peacock,
yeah.
So everybody's going to be coming at them. So this is their way of kind of hedging their bets, saying, let's get a piece of the pie. We'll still get some live game action. NFL Network, I don't know if that'll continue to exist. I think they might just peel that content and put it into the ESPN app. But Red Zone is a brand at this point, and that's one that they're smart to say, we can build on that.
You think that can kind of force the hand of the NFL as well, just being like, oh, man, you've got Red Zone already, and that's such a huge driving force for what a lot of our fans watch. So, well, if you've already got Red Zone, then yeah, we'll throw a couple games at you each year, type of thing, and that's kind of this is kind of their foot in the door almost to the NFL game a little bit.
That's a really interesting point. It's like almost like, could you do Red Zone all day long, and then one of these evening games, one of the games they have rights to, maybe they bump it to, that's going to be our evening game now.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just a total arms race though for the NFL in general. It's like, it's good to be.
They're just sitting back. Who can offer me the most money?
Roger Goodell is like, the line starts here, man. Bring your checkbook. We'll figure it out. But
that's probably an easy job for him, I'd imagine. Just
yeah.
Like whoever comes with the highest dollar amount, we kind of trust all of these, extensions of, whether it's ESPN or Fox, CBS, NBC type of thing. Like they all have experience with NFL. Well, I guess outside of ESPN. Well, no, they've got Monday Night Football. So like, what you're getting there.
Yeah,
I think it's just kind of to your point, like, hey, line up. Whoever's got the best offer for me, I'll come and get in bed with you.
Yeah. It's true. It's going to be fascinating to watch. And yeah, $2 billion, that sums it up. I mean, that's versus 51 million way back when.
Wild.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, we got one more text box person chiming in about Boo Carter. Shocker. As surprising as the Carter situation is, it really is the culture of football as a whole now. NIL, the transfer portal, and gambling will not make it better. It's a fair point, man. There's so many like wrinkles, distractions, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, we saw it. We've seen it happen in the NBA too. We haven't even touched on that. It's like some of these younger guys could somehow get influenced by the gambling aspect of it too.
Yeah.
God help us, man. We
Slippery slope.
Can't talk about that.
Slippery slope.
Anything we've missed today, guys? We've covered a lot, really.
Isn't Rich Eisen, is he doing something media wise, like as far as ESPN radio?
He's
like
he's going to become their focal anchor.
like 12 to 3 is going to be crazy.
Yeah,
like, these guys
he's moving
competing.
to 12 to 3 on ESPN radio, going up against McAfee, who's in
And
the
Stephen
same
A,
family.
right?
Stephen A is going to satellite radio at that time. Yeah. It's
I thought I'd read
and
that as well.
Cowherd, obviously.
Cowherd, yeah. Wow.
So yeah, no, it's a big bet for Rich Eisen. It's good for him. It's kind of full circle moment for him.
Yeah,
but
getting back into the game.
yeah,
At ESPN.
and I like Eisen.
I love
too.
me some Rich Eisen.
Yeah,
I love him.
Big fan. So yeah, that's a pretty interesting development to be sure. And then the last thing, by the way, is we're running out of time, but while we're talking about media, ESPN has announced that they are going to be on opening weekend when North Carolina plays TCU. They will be doing a live show, a pregame show in Chapel Hill ahead of the game with Matthew Berry, Teddy Bruschi, Desmond Howard, Pat McAfee, Nick Saban, and Pete Thamel all on hand. And then Reese Davis, Kirk Herbstreit, and Holly Rowe will call the game. They're going to make that just like a made-for-TV event. It's going to be ridiculous. And I'll watch. I hate to admit it. I'll be there to watch it all.
I'll watch too.
Just unbelievable, though, the spectacle. This is where we're at. This is our new world. Hop on board. All right, boys, got a wrap. Good show today, Sam. Great work from you. Have a good long weekend. Brett, appreciate your help as always. Garrett, thanks for coming in. Look forward to working with you tomorrow. And you, the listener, appreciate you spending time with us. In the meantime, keep it locked in on Fan Run Radio. The Chase with Chase Thomas is next, followed by The Drive at 3 p.m. with Russell Smith, and then The Slate at 6 with William Pattison. We'll be back here tomorrow. We will see you then. Have a great day.